Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to HCS Pro Talk, your weekly Halo Esports podcast. This is episode 93 for the week of September 24th, 2019. My name is Josh, aka JK Fire, and this week I'm joined by the man with the fantastic haircut, and now a proud Vikings fan, Will, aka I am Mr. Mayhem. Will, how are you tonight on the Sunday evening?
Doing fine, man. How are you?
You know, I'm swell.
Yeah?
Yeah. I have my G Fuel, so I'm not tired as balls anymore. Like when we were watching the game today, spoiler alert, Vikings won. Go figures against the Raiders. Woo. But no, I was almost falling asleep on the couch.
Really?
I'm not lying.
You're that tired?
So my daughter woke up like twice last night, one of which I slept through apparently. But she woke up around like maybe 4:30 or 5. And that's typically wake up time to go to work, but it's the weekend. I don't want to wake up then. And so I made her a bottle, fed her. She fell asleep right away after that. But then I went back to sleep. You know, when you have like, you sleep for a little while, wake up, go back to sleep. I just felt tired all day after that. So that's besides the point. Vikings won. It's all that matters.
They played a, I'd say less than average team though.
Oh, we yeah.
So
yeah.
We'll have to wait and see how they do facing decent teams moving forward.
The bar is very low.
Yeah.
Like, let's be real here. Josh,
what do we have on this episode, man?
That's a great question, Will. Thank you for asking. On this week's episode of HCS Pro Talk, we have finally some roster mania. Will has plenty of rosters to talk about. We have COD news inbound. Plenty of the CDL information has been released at this point in time. We're going to go through some of it. We have a little bit of news. We have plenty of tournament announcements. And we also have our weekly topic of esports franchising. 2 weeks in the making here. We delayed it a week because we wanted to do a little bit more research ourselves. I wanted to compile all the information that we had from people contributing to the comments. And we're going to go through it all at the end of the show. Will, before we actually get into the first topic of the show, I have a question for you.
Okay.
Okay. So this is like a curveball thrown into the show, but bear with me. This is really irritating me. Somebody put out on Twitter, and it's been blowing up. Okay. I don't know if you've seen it. It's the one has to go forever. Which one do you choose? And it's a bunch of candy bars. Okay. Have you seen this?
I have.
Okay. So for those listening at home or in the car or on the treadmill or wherever the hell you decide to listen to the show, thank you, by the way. Let me tell you what the 6 pieces of candy are that apparently one of them needs to go forever if you had to choose. Okay. So you have Snickers, Reese's peanut butter cup, not pieces, but the Reese's peanut butter cup, Milky Way, Kit Kat, M&M's, Twix. Will, if you were to get rid of one of them forever, which would it be and why?
I'd say the Milky Way because there's pieces of the Milky Way in other of those candies, right?
Okay.
I think it's a lot harder of a choice if you take the Milky Way away and go with the remaining.
Sure.
But yeah, I don't need Milky Ways. I'm fine without them. What about you?
So I've seen a lot of people. Okay. Let me just say that somebody finally said the correct answer here, in my opinion, obviously. But, okay, I see a lot of people say Kit Kats need to go. I'm like, what are you talking about? Kit Kats are fantastic. They're a different flavor than all the other things on there. You know what I would get rid of? I would get rid of the standard-ass M&Ms.
Why?
They're candy-coated chocolate. And you know what? Now, okay, if there's a caveat to this, okay? If they're only including regular ass M&Ms in this, out of the 6 choices, and we're excluding all other types of M&Ms, because I don't know about you, but peanut M&Ms are badass.
Oh yeah.
Caramel M&Ms, oh my God, amazing. Okay? But these regular ass M&Ms, they can go bye-bye. I don't care about any of them. But you can't take away my Snickers, my Reese's, my Milky Way. Can't speak. My Twix and my Kit Kat, no. But regular M&Ms, get out of here. I don't need that. If I have all the other M&Ms to choose from, if I have other M&Ms to choose from, I'm getting rid of the regular weak ass M&Ms.
I need more. I guess we need more context by the person asking this question.
We do.
Because for me, the M&Ms are the only like candy coat. Like, what if this was the only candy left in the world and you had to get rid of one of them?
I would still get rid of regular M&Ms.
No, because that's the only like piece of candy left, right?
I mean, I feel like I have way more variety in flavors with the other options, and I'd rather keep those. With M&Ms, I know what I'm getting. Like it's a piece of chocolate with crappy candy over it. I mean, whatever.
We'll agree to disagree.
You know what? The only thing that I will miss about if regular M&Ms went away, the only thing I would miss about M&Ms is taking two of them, smushing them together, and see which candy breaks first.
What?
Have you ever done that as a kid?
No.
You never did that?
No.
Oh, come on.
Maybe with like Skittles that were a little bit more malleable, but not.
No, so
M&Ms.
you would take two M&Ms and like you would fight. They'd be fighting, like quote unquote fighting. Okay, seriously, there has to be somebody out there listening that did the same thing as me as a kid. There has to be. You take two pieces of M&Ms. Okay, you take two M&Ms and you put them between your fingers and you push together.
Yeah.
And
so,
the candy. Yeah.
I want to know what our listeners think, so we need to put our own poll of this.
Sure.
On Twitter, we'll link the first question or whatever it is, whatever we need to do. But
well,
we should get this out on Twitter.
We should like quote tweet this because I don't want to steal this person's thunder.
Right. No, exactly.
Yeah. We'll quote tweet it and we'll put it out.
Awesome.
Okay. And we'll see what everybody else has to say. And
I have to say,
if you don't choose M&Ms, you're wrong.
No, choose Milky Way. Side with Will.
A lot of people sided with you. A lot of people
on that
did.
tweet?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of people did.
That makes me feel a little better.
There you go. Yep.
How can you get rid of M&Ms?
Because like you said, agree to disagree.
All right.
Will, I'm sorry to go off the rails right away, but what do we normally start the show off with? Roster Mania!
All right, are you guys ready? We have Roster Mania this week. We have Halo Premier League, Halo Draft League. Let's get into it. So to start off with the Premier League, we finally have some teams that we can list for you here. Let's start. We have Team 0. This includes Simply Fear Me, Devil Dog OG, Costa Clan, King, I think it's supposed to be Sabbath, and Woke, New Jersey. I have not yet read these names, so prepare for some fumbles, some misspoken names to come out, because it's going to happen. Next one, we have Martial Punishment. This is Fireboy, Neptune, Furiously, Too Sick, and Bound. We have Johnny Los Dinos. This is Generic, Bowser, Walla Walla, Too Fat, Too Face, Aramis RW. On Team Hype and Positivity, this is Bunnies Waddles, System Stats, Gemini Present, Sylvanic, and Gwenzy. Oh, Josh, this is for you. Team Bed Bath and Beyonce. We have Sushi, Blue House 8, GNS Pro Shot, Crewman, and Jolly Josh. On Team Jester Plays, we have Mirage, Zycane, Capples, El Halo Elite, and Defrain. Next team is The Strong Survive. This is TSS Danimal, Aurora Jorealis, Bofum, Sagbura, and Trey Cycle. On Team FTP, we have SFC Exodus, Swish Fives, Vemzy, Scariotic, and the Gold Star BR. And that's your Halo Premier League rosters. Next up, we have the Halo Draft League, and we actually have teams and the names and the associated values with those names. So let's go through it. First of all, these teams don't have names.
Correct. The draft took place literally, so we're recording on Sunday right now, right? The draft took place 2 days ago. So like you said, Will, team names are not formed at this time, but these teams are confirmed.
Yep. So Team 1 includes Trap H5. He was purchased for $130 or drafted for $130. Aaron aimbot, $200. A Strange Owl, I wonder if that's a play on a Savage Cat, went for $110. Veronica, $35, and a Scarecrow, $10. Also have Morgan for $15, and the team has a balance of 0. Team 2 includes Outbeast Spectre, 120, Boomy EU, 120, Market Warlord, 100, Dane, 95, Corsicrate, 55, and O for $10. Balance is 0 for the team. Team 3 includes Athropex for 70, Cogsta for 20, Sinferi for 80, Trilix for 50, Siege for 150, and Niwote for 30, with a balance for that team being 0. Team 4, we have Lanimal for 80, Turtles for 215. We have Nerdsy for 45, Marzi for 10, Apollo 9 for 20, and Condor CG for 55. The team still has a balance of $75. First team we have with some money. Team 5, this includes DF Psychedeli. He went for 140. He or she, I guess I don't know. Fear the Beard went for 40. NWK for 75. Deceased for 5. Bum Jamas for 30. And TTV Durf for $100. That team still has a balance of $110. Team 6, this includes Barbie Boy, went for $100. UE, what is that? Ugarin?
We've said this person before, and we were trying to figure out how to pronounce this person's name because it has like Ragin at the end of it or whatever. I have no idea how to pronounce this one.
With your Ragin. How about that?
All right.
For 185, we have Nikolai for 145. Why Not Be Reckless for 15. Avencia for 30. And Nightmare for 5. This team has a balance of $20 remaining. Team 7 includes Joy Slays for 90. Lamb Charizard for 140. S-Clips for 160. Not a Monk for 55. Zoplin for 35. And Taze for 20. Balance $0 for that team. Team 8 includes Mopsy for 110. Floppy for 250. Do we ever decide if it's Floppy or Floppy? I don't think we've ever...
We should ask, because him and Veronica, they're married.
Mm-hmm.
They live in Minnesota, and they go to the Microsoft Store tournaments.
So we're gonna try to go to the next one. So
hopefully they're there.
Yeah.
And we can just ask them straight up.
All right. Anyway, Floppy or Floppy went for 250. Beast Dish went for 30. Will Manion for 5. Bulbetta Feta for 55. And it looks like Defiled for 50. Team balance is 0. Team 9 includes Neuronical for 150. Telveric for 75. Hyder for 250. Or not, 205, sorry. Spar went for $5. QX for 30. Flurry for 35. Team balance is $0. Team 10 includes It's Exalt for 60, Scion for 130, Corrupt for 95, Ferocity for 30, Financial for 50, Palshi for 135. Balance is 0. And it looks like that's all we have for Roster Mania this week.
I think across the board there's a good distribution of talent across teams. This is why I like this draft format, right? Because I can see team 1, team 2, let's see, team 4. What else do we got? Team 6, team 8, and team 10. I can see doing some pretty big things here. But then again, I think every team has a chance, especially considering the season hasn't technically started yet. So we'll just have to wait and see.
I think the most expensive player was Floppy or Floppy for 250, which is crazy to me. Internet Aimbot went for 200, and Turtles went for 215. So it looks like there's some big heavy hitters out there, but it's up to those big heavy hitters, because you got to look that, maybe the team's not completely balanced. They might have
right.
more of those $30, $40 players where maybe someone else spread it out a little bit better. But you never know. I think it all comes down to how the team gels and plays together.
Exactly.
And if they work well together and make it work, they can It all depends.
Right.
We'll have to see how things play out.
We'll have to wait and see.
Yes, Josh. I'm with like most things we talk about in this podcast.
Yes.
We'll have to wait and see.
No, hopefully they get a lot of scrims in. Hopefully we can see a lot of gameplay and see how they're doing, see where they're going. And I can't wait for the matches to start up for the league. I think the season's going to be great.
All right.
Is that it for Roster Mania?
That's all we got.
Then it's time for COD, another games to watch. William Boyer, I have some information for you.
Okay.
And the listeners out there. Whether you're in your car, on your treadmill, maybe you're grabbing a snack from the fridge. You know, Will likes his cheese sticks. I'm going off the rails again. All right, back to it. Spartan announces new free agency. This is by Spartan over on Twitter, and I quote, "Free agent for all the upcoming Gears 5 qualifiers and events. Can attend San Diego, etc. Schedule is pretty open for the most part. Played a ton of Gears 3 way back. Skipped Gears of War 4. Still a bit rusty, but I'm grinding like 8+ hours a day. Retweets appreciated." A lot of people were commenting on that tweet saying that they've seen him play, and they've played with him in the past, and they said that he's a phenomenal player and even more phenomenal teammate. So I think based off all the accommodations that he's receiving from people in that tweet, I hope to see him picked up. I think it'd be great.
From the outside looking in, though, he did go last year from Halo
to Rainbow
Six, now to Gears. So as someone who doesn't know everything about him, it might be scary looking that he's transitioning game to game to game.
Right.
And he hasn't really stuck somewhere. So hopefully what people are saying about him is true and he is a phenomenal player. I don't doubt that he's not a phenomenal teammate.
Right.
That's, seems like a pretty good guy.
Yeah.
I liked his Ryan Noob feud back in Halo. It kind of fueled that passion.
Oh, he'll be back too.
Yeah, for Infinite.
Yeah.
I think he'll come back.
Oh, he will. I think he said he will.
So, hopefully he can do good things in Gears.
Yeah. I hope so as well. Next part of COD and Other Games Watch, we have parent company Overactive Media to shut down Splice brand as part of restructuring. This is by Richard Lewis of Dexerto. Did we find out how to pronounce this actual website's name?
I think it's Dexerto.
Okay. Either way, if it's wrong, I'm an idiot. I'm sorry. The article, and I quote, "Overactive Media, the parent company that owns esports brands Toronto Defiant, Call of Duty Toronto, Mad Lions, and Splice, has decided to shut down the Splice brand as part of a restructuring within the company. Employees affected by the decision contacted Deserto with the news after they were notified and offered severance packages. The final closure will take place in December, with OAM heading into 2020, focusing on the Toronto-themed brands. Quote, "OAM came and told us we had the choice to stick around until December or we could leave now with severance pay," end quote, said one affected employee. Quote, "The majority of the staff took the payout, so a lot of people left Splice yesterday," end quote. It's not clear how many staff this decision will affect in total, nor what the future of Marty Strix will... Oh, God.
Strenzewilk. Strenzewilk.
Strenzewilk?
Yeah, we'll go with that.
All right.
That's a name.
That is a name. The former CEO of Splice turned senior vice president of team operations for OAM during the acquisition will be. One former employee suggested that Strenzewilk was extremely disappointed with the decision and would be considering his options moving forward. Splice, formed in 2015, what?
There's different spelling of the name throughout this article, so I think it's Strenzewik.
Strenzewik?
Wick, yes.
Okay, Strenzewik. Splice, formed in 2015, was purchased by Overactive Media in November of 2018 with an undisclosed fee. The formal purchase was announced shortly after it became known that Splice had been awarded a slot in the Riot Games European Franchise League, LEC. According to one former employee, the strategy now for the naming of League of Legends franchise is to rebrand the Splice team as Mad Lions, a Spanish esports organization that was acquired by OEM in May of this year, and that the Spanish LOL team would be dropped as a result of this. Reasons for the closure aren't entirely clear. The Splice brand represented the oldest and therefore most storied in their portfolio, as well as having the broadest social media reach due to its housing teams in multiple titles. One source affected by the layoffs told us that internally the staff suspect it is just for financial reasons. Quote, "Personally, I think they're doing it because of taxes," end quote, they told us. Quote, "It is more expensive to pay American employees for a Toronto-based company," end quote. Another said that the focus on the franchise model also made more financial sense for the company as it freed them from supporting multiple teams competing in open circuit systems. Quote, "They have 3 franchise teams in 3 of the biggest esports franchise leagues. Doing this enables them to drop teams that don't generate any value for them and lets them focus on League of Legends, Overwatch, and Call of Duty," end quote. Sad to see.
Yeah. If a company's looking at its financials and seeing that this brand they're running isn't making them money, it makes sense that they would essentially drop it or cut ties.
Business is business.
Business is business. Unfortunately, it does affect real people.
Yes, it does.
Hopefully they can find a spot still within the esports industry if they have that talent. For in what they do there with Splice, they should be able to find another spot, or hopefully they could maybe look back at going, if they feel going back to Overactive Media, they already have rapport with that company. They can say, hey, this is what I've done with Splice. Let me work on Call of Duty. Let me work on League of Legends, and make that step up to the franchising teams and maybe make more money there.
Awesome. I like the way you think, Will. Next up, we have COD franchise rosters announced. This is by CDL Intel on Twitter, and I quote, "For full rosters," here we go. In Atlanta, we have Simp, Abizi, Priesta, Major Maniac, and Cilium. In Chicago, we have Scump, Formal, Gunless, Arcides, and Envoy. In Dallas, we have Clayster, Crimsix, Hook, Illy, and Shotzi. In Florida, we have Mo, M-A-U-X. Is it that right? The X would be silent there, right? Or is it Mox? I think it's Mo.
Mo.
Yeah. Skies, Frosty, Prestini, and Havoc. In London, we have Wuskin, Scraps, Dylan, Jerd, and Rated, maybe. In Los Angeles, which is the Immortals team, we have TJ Halley, Dashy, Slasher, Kenny, and JCap. In New York, we have Accuracy, Temp, Attach, Zuma, and Zero. In Seattle, we have Octane, Enable, Slacked, Karma, and Empathy. In Florida, we have Mo again. Oh, never mind. These are already stated.
Florida's a repeat.
Yep, thank you. In London, we have... Oh, wait. Not 100% sure on Rated, but I think he's there. As far as I know, Alex is not on this team. Okay, so these are just updates. For the LA team, which is the Immortals team, I believe this is where Aches and Decimate are, since they didn't end up going to Minnesota. I've heard some other names, but don't know if this roster is set yet, though. Okay, so this is from CDL Intel. This is what he's saying. For the Paris team, this might be the franchise Sensor keeps saying he's with, but a lot of people I ask say they don't know, so it's a 50-50. In Toronto, still the same: Looney, Brack, Methods, Lucky, Metals, and Clean X. Don't know else they'll get, or who's official, or who's starting or not. Yes, that one's kind of up in the air. And then for Minnesota, God, RX, Silly, and Assault. No idea who the final 2 are, but it's not Aches and Decimate anymore. Okay, so Minnesota, we're still waiting for the final roster on for sure.
So far, I like the Dallas team.
Oh yeah, that's scary. That Chicago team is
terrifying. Is stacked.
Yep.
So I think they're going to have a big force.
So here's the thing. Here's the thing to me. So you had United win the last World Champs, if I'm not... Right?
Wasn't it 100 Thieves?
No, 100 Thieves didn't win.
Oh, not
Worlds.
Gotcha. Yes, United.
I think United won, yeah. If you haven't noticed, a lot of those teams are broken up now.
Mm-hmm.
Which means I think that we're going to talk about franchising later on in the episode, but just what happened here with these rosters, I'm all for more competition, right? People love seeing Tox win everything and whatnot, but like the facts that Lux won the last Halo Classic, right? It was huge because nobody was expecting it. So having all of these major teams broken up and having these players land on different rosters for different cities, I think this is amazing. I think the competition's going to be unbelievably close if these teams can gel correctly, right? Because you have players that have been competing together on the same team for so long, and now they're just all of a sudden broken up. And we did hear about the Crim 6 situation last week, but here, like, a lot of these teams have so many phenomenal players on them from all around. And I'm so excited for this season. I think this is going to be insane. Seeing what comes of this. Our team's going to work well together. Are there going to be further shakeups depending on how the franchising works with Call of Duty? I have no idea, man. This is so bizarre. This is so bizarre to me. Like, listen to this. Listen to this. That Dallas team, you have Clayster, one of E-United's, like, I'm just going to say, he was the face of E-United. Okay? People now might argue, and that might say simp now, but because he won MVP and whatnot, but that's besides the point. Clayster was like the face of E-United. Then you have Crim 6, which is, him and Scump were like the face of Optic Gaming, right? Then you have Hook, which became the face of Envy, right? Then you have Shotzi coming up because he's finally old enough to compete, being 18. That seems insane. Insane. Like, this, I can't believe this. Oh my God.
The amount of talent that's on each of these teams, you don't really know who's going to win going into it. And you could really put any team in front of the other and no one can argue with you based on
insane
the amount of skill that's here and the balance of skill. That's a big thing. The balance of skill throughout the rosters. It's going to create for a highly competitive environment.
Yes.
And that's what's going to draw on the people.
I can't wait.
So it's going to be good.
Formal, Gunless, and Arcinies. Are you kidding me? Like, what? Oh my God. Kenny, TJ, Dashy. Oh my God. This is it.
Josh is losing his mind over here.
I can't wait. Like,
oh my God.
I really hope that every single player on these teams gel completely because the amount of competition that's going to show. So, like when we watch Talks play, right? You just kind of expect, it's going to be a 3-0, right? So on and so forth. Now the competition's getting better and better with this revival of Halo 3 coming in the mix. With Call of Duty Modern Warfare coming out, with these teams being the way they are, hypothetically, if they all gel perfectly, right, we could see so many Game 5 situations. It's unbelievable. Like, I can't wait. I can't wait. That's it, though.
That's all we have for COD and Other Games Watch.
God, another Games to watch!
What's next, Josh?
Well, I'm glad you asked. It's a little segment we like to call Will's Adventures Within the Haloverse. Will, what'd you play this week?
I jumped into some Apex.
Did ya?
Yeah.
Did you see they announced a new character?
No, I did not look up anything.
I forgot the name of the new character.
Do you know what their ability is?
No, I think they only showed like a cinematic thing.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I'll have to look it up after this.
Yeah.
But they removed.
Took out, yeah, could be used to.
I don't know why my brain's
it's
not
okay.
like continuing the sentence after that. They removed Armed and Dangerous, which was
dangerous.
Their mode that was shoddy snipes. That's all that was on the map.
Oh.
And I enjoyed it so much.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, so it's either real up close and personal or trying
Peacekeepers?
with Peacekeepers, and it got a little annoying. But
sure.
It was, I had the most fun in that game mode.
Were there more like hop-ups on the map for those weapons too? Did you experience that? Or was it just like the baseline?
I think there was a little more than usual. I would say there was.
Okay.
So yeah, it was, a lot of long range battles, a lot of close range battles. Some people are just crazy with those snipers. Like, I wouldn't even see the shot come in and all of a sudden headshot them down, because in that mode too, there's nothing above white armor.
Oh,
so
God.
there's a lot less.
So if you get domed, you're done.
Yeah, it's mainly game. You rely on your gunplay.
Was it everyone against themselves, or was it still team based?
Nope, 3v3.
Okay.
So it was very much reliant on the gunplay, which I liked.
Yeah, good. That's good. That's good.
And then honestly, there was so little armor on the map, maybe only one person on your team would have it.
Sure.
So, yeah, it made for some interesting battles and, trying to, do we want to take this that distance or do you want to rush it? Because if someone catches you rushing, they might have the jump on you and be able to one-shot you with anything to the head. So, it was a fun mode. They took it out like midway through the week, probably when they had an update on like Wednesday or something.
Okay.
And it was a little sad it was gone, but I get it. The season 2 just ended.
Okay.
Season 3 is going to be coming out, I believe, October 1st.
Which means that's when the new characters coming and all that fun stuff. New season pass or battle pass, not season pass, but yeah.
So yeah, played a little bit. Didn't get. I don't know if I got any wins. If I did, I probably got carried.
Don't sell yourself short.
I'm not.
You can get the kills, Will.
Okay, whatever you say, Josh.
Thanks, Will.
So yeah, played a little Apex. I tried literally 30 minutes before we started recording the Modern Warfare beta on PC.
Yes.
My first game, I went 3-14. It was not glorious.
What did you play? Did you just play like the quick play playlist?
I think quick
whatever?
play.
Okay.
So it was like Domination was the first game.
Okay.
I had no idea where I was on the map.
Sure.
I just jumped in and went, and people were already ranked like 30, which is nuts. Like they must have been doing nothing but playing all weekend, and that was like most of the lobby was hot, like 20 to 30 ranked, and then me. So I'm running around just trying to figure out where the hell I am, and these people are already pros. So
30 means pro. Got it.
Yeah, that's what it felt like to me anyway.
Sweet.
Second game I did a lot better. I went like 18-10.
Nice.
So kind of got the groove a little bit. When you first start, you only get like the LMG, something else and something else. They're not great guns.
Right. You have a few classes to pick from
Yep.
that are pre-made. Yep. I think every Call of Duty, like when you first start out, you do that.
Yep. So I just ran with the LMG, kind of had to learn what range to be at for it.
Sure.
And I think that's, the first game was for. In the second game, I unlocked the AK-47.
Nice.
Which I destroyed with. I like that gun. It's my favorite gun in the game so far.
Awesome.
And yeah, I got to play a little bit because it closes out tomorrow at like noon.
Good to know. Maybe I'll try to get a couple games in too tonight.
Yeah. And then I did play some Halo 5. It didn't go well. The rankings are still really unbalanced because of the population.
Yeah.
Games can get snowbally now. It gets really frustrating. I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
I didn't rank up. I ranked down. Thumbs up.
Womp womp.
And, but yeah, that's all I played for the week. Really not a lot. I spent most of my week catching up on Breaking Bad. Not catching up, but rewatching.
How far are you now into it? Again, I mean.
I'm almost on season 5 already.
Wow.
I think I'm just like a couple episodes away from finishing season 4.
See, you and I talked about it, and it took me a while to get into that show because I thought season 1 was too slow. But as soon as I got into season 2, I was hooked immediately.
That's the whole thing with the show, though, is
the build up.
The build up, yeah.
Yeah. No, I respect it completely, and I now, like, after I watched fully through it, I realized, oh, this is why this show is one of the best that's ever been made. It's true, it is.
It was done so well.
Yep.
So yeah, I don't know. Games aren't really catching my eye right now. Nothing's like pulling me in like you need to play this.
Right.
COD was pretty fun today.
Yeah.
That would be probably the new thing that I'd be most excited for. But I need something. I need something new.
Destiny 2 Shadowkeep.
Yeah, we'll see, man.
It's okay. Yeah. You do whatever you want to do.
Anyway, what did you play, Josh?
Thank you for asking. Well, I played some MCC on the Xbox, obviously. Community Playdate. It was a good time. On PC. So I broke these out by what platform I played them on because I actually played a decent amount of things. I played Final Fantasy 14. I'm still leveling up, still having a good time. I want to change classes, but I'm waiting. I played some Forza Horizon 4. I still like that game. It's really, really fun. I'm playing the Lego expansion. Game's dope as shit. I played some Call of Duty Modern Warfare, obviously. The open beta. I also pre-purchased it because I'm a loser. I'm just kidding. I think it's going to be fun. We were talking in Discord, and Maddie, I think, was talking about how he's looking forward to a good COD campaign after a while. Same here, man. Yeah, yeah, I genuinely enjoy Call of Duty campaigns, and I'm glad this one has one.
Can you do multiplayer on the campaigns, or is it still solo?
I do not know.
That'd be interesting to see if you can roll with the squad or not.
That is a good question. The thing that I do like the most, though, and it's what everybody's talking about, right, is the crossplay with.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So the thing that I love the most is that, like, I'm one of those people that's going to be playing with a controller on PC, right? The game is more fluid on PC, but I use the controller as an input. I just feel more comfortable with it. But knowing that I'll be able to play against Xbox and PS4 players and PC players with a controller as well just makes it all the better. So you never really feel like you're at a disadvantage.
Did they say if there was an opt-in or opt-out for controller players on console?
I don't know for certain. I thought they were going to do something like that, but I don't know for certain. Don't quote me on it. Have to look into it more.
Okay.
On mobile, I played Grindstone and What the Golf.
Okay.
So for those who don't know, so Will, you and I have iOS devices.
Yep.
Right? We have iPhones.
Yes.
The Apple Arcade. Okay. It's Apple's subscription service for mobile video games, and it's like $5 a month or whatever, but you can get a month for free. Okay. So I obviously signed up for the free trial for a month, and the two games that I'm really liking so far are Grindstone and What the Golf. Check them out if you can.
Okay.
And then finally on PS4, I finally started.
Oh my.
Yep. I finally started Marvel's Spider-Man.
How is it?
Well, let me just say, on that new TV I got, oh, good Lord, that game looks amazing.
No, you don't have the Pro.
Nope,
right?
I do not. I have a standard PS4. But like, this isn't me trying to flex or anything, but I'm just going to say this. I got little moment for myself here. A TV that I've always wanted since the technology ever got announced. Okay, this is when I worked at Best Buy years ago, right? LG announced that they're coming out with OLED TVs. Okay, I have an old Panasonic Plasma in my bedroom that I love. I think the picture quality is amazing. It's right before Plasmas got fully phased out. Okay. Again, this is right when I started working at Best Buy. Everybody was waiting for a technology to come out that would meet that or surpass Plasma, like visual fidelity. Okay. OLED was going to do that. But the problems were, one of the biggest concerns is image retention, aka burn-in, because Plasmas have the same ordeal, right? But technology have gotten so advanced now where they have technologies built into the TV to prevent these things from happening. Okay, you have to have that image on for literal days, weeks, months in order for it to stay on. Okay, so I finally did what I said I was going to do so many years ago, and I purchased my first ever LG 4K 4K OLED that I've wanted forever. And it's stunning when you watch the correct content on it. Obviously, cable doesn't look the greatest on it, but oh man, and on a standard PS4, the game still has HDR.
Yeah.
It looks stunning. And to put things into perspective for you, Natana was in the kitchen, right? I started the game, and the first thing you see is a cutscene, right? But it's rendered in engine. Okay, so it looks like the game does. Natana's in the kitchen, and she's like, "What are you watching?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's just Spider-Man." She's like, "Oh, I don't remember this scene." And I'm like, "No, and it's the game." She's like, "Oh." I'm like, "Yeah. It looks that damn good." I can only imagine what God of War looks like on that, or The Last of Us Part 2. Oh my God.
I am going to play all my games at your house now.
No, I swear to, like, again, I'm not trying to flex. I'm being serious here. This is something I've wanted for so long.
Yeah.
I want you to come over and experience this too. Yes. I want as many people to experience this as possible. Like, it's, oh my God. When I watched Endgame on it, Avengers Endgame, I literally stood up from my couch and was screaming at how good it looked. I couldn't believe it.
Crazy.
Yes. That does it for the games I played though.
How far into Spider-Man are you though? You didn't say anything about the game.
Sorry, oh my God, I feel so bad now. No, so I beat, let's see. I finally got, I still very early on. Have you played?
I haven't played it
at all. So I'm still near the very beginning of the game. And what happened was I beat like the first, like, I'm going to call him, I'm not going to say he's like the boss. I'll say mini boss, whatever. He opens the game up, I guess you could say. I I'm in the open world now. I've gotten some of the suit unlockables because there's many different suits you can get in the game. And like Dr. Octavius is your friend.
Really?
I mean, I don't know how far that's going to last or how long that's going to last, but as of right now, he's your friend and like colleague. You work together with him. And no, I actually, oh my God, this game is triggering all of those. Oh, I like those little check marks, you know, it's triggering the check marks of my mind where Assassin's Creed does the same thing, you know, where they have like the watchtowers you go up and you can synchronize and it unlocks areas of the map.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's triggering all those senses for me. And so you go and you unlock like security transmitters or security towers, and they kind of show a little bit more of the map. They show you the collectibles that are on the map as soon as you unlock it and blah, blah, blah. So I went around the entire city and did all those. So the entire map is shown to me now. So now I can go get all the collectibles at one time if I want to. I can continue the story. It's just one of those things I wanted to check off, you know? Of course, you get a trophy for it. It's that little dopamine hit in my brain. Like, ooh, I got a little something for that. I'm going to go do the other things. But yeah, I think the game's good. The combat's really fun so far. Swinging is phenomenal. And it just looks really damn good. And of course, it's an Insomniac game. And now that they're officially a Sony first-party publisher, because they got purchased by them, I'm excited to see what they do next. I'm really hoping for another Ratchet & Clank game down the line. That's what I'll say. One of my favorite franchises of all time. Their remake was really damn good. So I'm looking forward to what they're going to do next.
All right. Yeah. I got to play Spider-Man.
You did? Yeah,
I heard it was really good.
Yep. Everybody's been saying it's phenomenal. And I'm like, I'm just going to press play. So I did.
I don't know what it is about me, but I've never been interested in like, ooh, I got to get the trophies or I got to get the achievements on Xbox. Sure. I've never been, I want to experience the game. I don't really care about like it's cool that a lot of it's there, but when I have to go out of my way to find something or to like do something that wouldn't normally happen in combat, it's a little weird for me.
That's perfectly fine. You can do whatever you want to do.
Right.
Oh, I forgot. I played some Red Dead Redemption 2 as well. You want to know what I did?
Did you burn more bodies?
No, I did. Throwback. No, I did not. What episode did we talk about that? I have no idea.
When Red Dead first came out, man.
Oh man, that was so funny. Oh no, I did not burn any more bodies. What I did do was, so I realized I was so far away from a mission start point. So instead, I just got on my horse and I rode into like this little farm area, and there's a little house. Somebody was doing farm work, and there's this little house. Some bandits rolled up. And I'm like, no. So I popped their faces off. Apparently, the farmer didn't like that, and so he called in, like he phoned in the coppers. And I'm like, what? So I looted his house and I bolted.
Yeah,
like screw you, dude. Don't call me out. I saved you. Leave me alone.
Oh my god. Yeah. And then you burned his body.
No, I didn't burn any bodies. Oh my god.
Oh,
I love how you remembered that. It was so good. It was such a good moment too. No, I did not burn any bodies.
All right.
That is all I played. I'm sorry. I'm going on for too long. Will, it's time for the news. First up, happy birthday, Halo 3 ODST. This is by Halo over on Twitter, and I quote, ODST reporting for duty, sir. 10 years ago, Halo 3 ODST released, and we jumped feet first into the greatest battle Earth has ever seen. We're going to be talking a little bit more about Halo 3 ODST, well, just ODST in general, in a little bit. Stay tuned. Next up, Outpost Discovery Roundup plus Halo Infinite Forge First Details exclusive by Connie of Forge Hub over on ForgeHub.com, and I quote, undo redo buttons are coming to Forge. Cue the fanfare. Heavily requested undo and redo functionality is confirmed by 343 Industries. The ability to easily undo or redo your mistakes has been absent from every iteration of Forge since Halo 3 in 2007, and finally, after 13 long years, it'll be included in Halo Infinite's Forge mode. Undo Redo's inclusion aligns with Michael's comments about upping Forge's capabilities to be more on par with professional level building software. The design of Halo Infinite's Forge seems to emphasize that Forge's accessibility shouldn't hinder its capability. With this small reveal and tongue-in-cheek hint towards the next iteration of the level editing mode, the community now has a better idea about where 343's priorities lie with Forge. Needless to say, we were all very reassured to learn Forge is getting the attention it deserves. That's fantastic. Hopefully that means there'll be less, I don't know the word I'm kind of looking for here, less frustration with Forge. Then again, I don't know if it was very frustrating without that feature. I imagine it would be, though. Next up, Mankey provides the updates. This is by Josh Mankey over on Twitter, and I quote, Ranked rotational update. We're planning on rotating the Halo 3 throwback playlist into ranked early for Halo 3's birthday on Wednesday the 25th. Head-to-head will rotate back out till next time. Next up, Outpost Discoveries by Grim Brother 1 on Halo Waypoint, and I quote, well, actually, this isn't a quote. This is just stating that the article is actually going over everything from Halo Outpost Discovery, including some of the main stage features and a deeper dive on some of the lore. So check out that article, read through it, check out the videos that are included. I'm glad that they took videos of some of the main stage content, because if you were at the event and you just weren't able to see that stuff, they included some of it there for you. You can check out the interviews, the talks, all that stuff. It's all there. Speaking of ODST Slayer, we have an ODST Slayer article on HaloWaypoint.com from
Unishek.
Thank you, Will. And I quote, to help celebrate the upcoming 10th anniversary of Halo 3 ODST, we've launched the brand new ODST Slayer playlist in Halo 5. In ODST Slayer, players load into each match equipped with the Tactical Magnum and Silenced SMG, and will need to scavenge for power weapons around the maps. Although you may have a little more movement than your typical Helljumper with the inclusion of Clamber, Sprint, and Slide, we recommend that you don't peek around corners too far, as the shield and health properties have been fine-tuned to replicate the feeling of Halo 3 ODST's health model. For those of you who haven't played Halo 3 ODST, this means that your health will feel lower, and therefore the lethality of every weapon will feel much higher. Together, all of these aspects create a well-balanced, nostalgic mode that ultimately results in a fun celebration of Halo 3 ODST's 10th anniversary. But what are the maps? We have Precinct by Sika Mechanico. Yeah, Sika Mechanico and 343 Industries. We have Redacted by 343. We have Plaza ODST by Run Nokyard Run and 343. We have Empire ODST by Run Nokyard Run and 343. We have Eden ODST by Run Nokyard Run and 343. We have Coliseum ODST, Riptide ODST, Regret ODST, Overgrowth ODST, and The Rig ODST by 343. We hope you get a chance to drop into this playlist with friends and enjoy some Halo 3 ODST-inspired festivities. After all, as the saying goes, you know the music, time to dance.
Josh, did you play any ODST Slayer?
I did not. Did you?
I did.
You did?
I jumped in. I didn't know what I was doing.
Sure.
But it's 3-shot headshot. Which is actually kind of fun.
Okay.
If you can get the drop on some people, you can get some easy kills. Some of the maps I'm not a fan of. Just the design's not what I like, but and some people just knew how to play it a little too well.
Sure.
There are some power weapons on the map, and yeah, I don't know. It was okay. It was okay. I had fun for a little bit. When you got of course, when you match up against the sweats and you're not trying to be that sweaty, it gets a little frustrating. But no, it was still a good time. I enjoyed it. It was something different, not the same Slayer I'm used to.
Okay. Maybe I'll give it a shot. We'll see. We'll see. Next news story. It's time for some competitive news. GT Halo announces next event by GT Halo on Twitter, and I quote, introducing the North Halo CE LAN. Come and play with the top Halo CE players in Canada on Saturday, October 5th for a 24-hour LAN and Landlords GC. Break out the CRTs and get those dukes out on what should be a fun evening. If I'm not mistaken, I believe Silos is going to be there. And you should, check it out. If you're in the area, be there. If you're not, why not take a little vacation? Head on up to little Canada. Don't you know? A little Minnesotan accent there for you. You betcha. Come on there, north there, buddy. Oh. I feel fucking terrible. I'm sorry. No, but seriously, if you're in the area, you should definitely be there. I think that's going to be a great event. And I believe Silas, like I said, is going to be there. Next up, we have Midwest Esports announces their next event by Midwest Esports over at eventbrite.com. Here's the information. Esports Festival in Kansas City, October 5th, 2019. It's a Halo 3 2v2 and free-for-all $200 prize pool.
Same day.
Same day.
October 5th.
Oh, man. Are you going to do Halo 1 or Halo 3? Or both?
Because, yes, you can be two places at once nowadays.
You know, time travel.
Yeah.
If Avengers can do it, we can too.
Sure.
All right. Well, that was interdimensional travel. My bad. All right. Next up. I got really nerdy there for a second.
It's okay.
Thanks, man. Penn Halo announces their next event. This is by Penn Halo over at, again, eventbrite.com. Here's the event information. 2v2 Autumn Assault. We are proud to announce our second Halo 3 paid tournament. This event is a secured prize pool of $1,000, 32-team cap to start off. Again, it's $1,000 plus guaranteed in prizes. $600 for first, $250 for second, and $150 for third. You can check out all the information included in the Google Doc of the show notes of the show. Next up, MK Viable Manatee is looking for some feedback on his next event. This is by MK Viable Manatee on Twitter, and I quote, "I'll be running a Splinter GG Cup on the 5th of October."
The third event on the 5th of October. It's a popular day.
Oh, man, it's hopping. It's straight hopping. 6 p.m. UK time starts. Which Halo will I run it on? The options include Reach, Halo 2 Anniversary, Halo 3 MCC, and Halo 5. You can go ahead to the poll in the tweet. Make your vote.
If you're curious, Halo 5 is currently winning.
By a pretty large margin, I thought, too.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. So make sure to get your vote on. Next up, back in action, get ready for some Griffball by Priest XYZ of Play Griffball. This is an article on playgriffball.com. And I quote, "Welcome back. Griffball is back. Yes, you read that correctly. And we've got a slate of tournaments for you to get your Griffball fix before the start of the next AGLA season. Honorary head of events, booster, and community member, Not Before Eva. Right? Yeah. Has stepped up to the plate once again to offer prize support for not one, not two, but three. Did you get it? That was like a Tootsie Pop reference.
Yep.
Yeah.
I got you.
1, 2, 3. It's 3 bites, by the way. Tournaments over the course of the next month. Each tournament will have a prize support of $100. These tournaments are intended to give the community an opportunity to play the new offense, defense, and scorefest variants in Halo 3 Griffball, as well as the normal Griffball variants that we currently play. At the end of the tournaments, we will assess how things went, take feedback from the community, and then determine which game type to use for the upcoming AGLA season. Here's the tournament outline. Signups for the tournament will take place in the Play Griffball Discord and open each Sunday the week of the tournaments in the events discussion thread. Once it has been officially announced that signups are open, the first 16 people to post "Sign Me Up" will be eligible to participate in each tournament. A wait list will form for any signups thereafter in case of no-shows. Knott will categorize 16 players that show up on the game night into 4 tiers. He will then randomize the teams into 4 teams, with each team containing 1 player from each tier. The first round will be round-robin style. Each team will play 3 games each. For the offense, defense, and scorefest variants, a win will result in 3 points, a tie will result in 1, and a loss will result in 0 for your team. The 2 teams with the highest point total will move on to the final round for a 1-game winner-take-all match. All games are to be neutral hosted. But the fun doesn't stop there. During the week of the tournaments, we will have at least 1 night dedicated to running Late League, featuring the game type that is being played in that week's tournament. We want to give everyone a chance to play the game types and just have some fun playing Griffball. As a thank you to all those who support the upcoming events by volunteering to neutral host or host a Late League lobby, those individuals will be placed in a raffle that will be held at the conclusion of the final tournament, featuring prize support from Not Before Eva, Priest XYZ, and anyone else who decides to chip in from now until the end of the tournament. So what does the schedule look like? For offense-defense, on September 22nd, signups for offense-defense tournament open. On the 24th, Late League featuring offense-defense game type at 9 EST. And then September 25th, offense-defense tournament at 9 EST. That's PM, by the way. So a few days left, which means it's the day after this episode posts. For the Scorefest, September 29th, signups open. On October 2nd, Late League featuring Scorefest happens at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard. And then October 3rd, Scorefest tournament at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard. And then Classic Griffball, 1st to 5. On October 6th, signups open. On October 8th, the Classic Tournament. And then October 9th, the Late League featuring classic game type at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard. And then finally, the American Griffball League of America sign-ups. October 11th. Mark it on your calendars. It's going to be hot and spicy. It's going to be fun. I can't wait. Competitive Griffball is amazing. Matches are super close. Or they can be super close. Will, the final piece of news for you. The big one. The one everyone's been asking for on Twitter. Time and time again. DreamHack Halo series has been announced. This is by DreamHack over on dreamhack.com/Halo. Here's the event information. DreamHack Atlanta. It is happening November 15th through the 17th, 2019. Halo 3, $50,000 prize pool, 76 teams. Qualifier information. We'll be holding 4 online qualifiers throughout October for people to gain points towards seeding at the event. Please note that these qualifiers are for seeding only, which probably means no prize pool associated with those.
Yeah.
And for those worried about attending the event and some noise complaints, don't worry. Tashi has some information for you. On Twitter, and I quote, "For those interested, Robin Nyman reassures me that the concert should not interrupt the tournament at DreamHack Atlanta 2019 because of the scheduling adjustments made, later concert start, as well as the air wall that we block out the sound. Big thanks to DreamHack for addressing this head on." Yeah, that was a big complaint last time, for sure. Will, I think it's time for some upcoming tournaments. Oh, wait. That does it for the news.
There you go.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. You had your finger ready on the button. I'm thinking to myself, okay, I'm an idiot. It's time for some upcoming tournaments of the week, Will. On September 24th, we have Blam Gaming Halo Series Preliminary number 4. On September 25th, we have the LFTG Halo 5 2v2. On September 26th, we have the HPL matchups, including Bed Bath & Beyonce, going up against the Strong Survive, and then we have Hype and Positivity going up against Martial Punishment. On September 28th, we have 2 more HPL matchups for you. It's Team Zero versus Johnny Ilasdinos. And then we have Jester Plays going up against FTP. And then on the 29th of September, we have the Europa Halo Wars 2 World Series Qualifier number 3. It's the last one, by the way. And then we also have the Microsoft Store Halo 5 2v2 that Will and I are going to attend.
It's on a Sunday.
The question is...
Vikings game, recording.
Oh, man. Is that the one at 3:25 as well?
I think they go late, so we might have to record on Monday night.
We'll make it work.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about it. We just want to stop by and say hi.
Realistically, yeah, we're not competing.
Yeah, we just want to check it out. We want to talk to some people, maybe take some photos, check out some gameplay, some top tier. I just touched your foot.
Thanks, man. I was gonna put my foot over here.
It's okay. We sit across from each other at a desk. Both our legs are underneath said desk. We're looking at each other deeply into each other's eyes as I graze your foot. That's it for the tournaments upcoming of the week. Will, what do we got for the tournament and league recaps of the week?
We're gonna start off with the SWAT Nation Femme Fatale redo results. In 7th and 8th, we have Monza and Murley. And then obviously Queen and Dreamy Dream. In 5th through 6th, we had Pink and Elegance. And then Kitchen Bound and Lady Echidna. I never know if I'm saying it right. Echidna. Either way. 4th place, we have I Bloodrina and Chong JRR. In 3rd, taking home $100 was Command Station and Pink Cat. 2nd, they took home $150 was Divine Damsel and Queen. And in 1st place was Veronica and Minx taking home $250. The next one is SWAT Nation Swatterino Cappuccino FFA results, which I think Josh has for us.
I do. So the reason why these weren't included in the show notes for Will to read right away is because the tournament was still going on as we were recording. So Will,
yeah,
if you want to open up the bracket link that I have included, Do, 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 do. I don't want to get sued by Jeopardy. Do, do,
So stop
do,
doing.
do. Oh, come on. Okay, then scroll over to the right, and you should see in red the grand finals. Do you see what I am looking at?
Yeah.
Read through them. Top to bottom. Top is first place. Bottom is last.
All right. So first place was Llama Lotion. It came in, it looks like, with 43 kills.
I think so. I believe that's what those stats are.
All right. Next, in second place was S. Sicky with 31 kills. Third place was Free Stress, also with 31 kills.
Then we go by assists, I believe.
Assists, yep.
Or deaths. No, it'd be assists. It'd be assists.
In fourth place was Falcated, 31 kills again. In fifth was Smoke You Dig, 29 kills. And this name again.
It keeps popping up.
I think it's you. I think it's like You're Raging. I think that's what I'm going to go with. You're Raging. 26 kills, 28 assists. I think 54 deaths.
Very nice.
MVP went to Llama Lotion. Well, they won the thing. So
They did win the thing.
considering it's a single player FFA.
It was their first ever. It was SWAT Nation's first ever FFA.
Wow, I'm surprised.
I mean, think about that. A SWAT FFA?
If you're just popping heads, you could just sit in one spot.
Yeah, it'd be crazy.
If your shot's on.
Yeah. Before we move on to the topic, I want to say this. That Femme Fatale tournament, okay? That grand final was insane. So it went to 2 best of 7s. The second game, it went to game 14, which was game 7 of the second best of 7. And the losers bracket team that came back won the whole thing in a nail biter 25-24. Insane. And that's not just like, let me put things in more perspective here for you. So Veronica and Minx took it, right? They got dropped into losers early. They had to fight through all the way through losers, make their way back up, make it to the grand final where Divine Damsel and Queen were waiting for them, take it to the first best of 7, win that out, take it to the second best of 7, go to a second game 7, 25-24. Oh my God. It was just one of the most engrossing grand finals I've seen in so long. It was so good. Oh, SWAT Nation doing it right.
All right. That's what we have for tournament and league recaps for the week. Josh, what's up next?
We have our weekly topic, Will.
It's a big one.
Esports franchising. So there's a lot of news, a lot of speculation, a lot of thoughts around this. We gave this kind of like a 2-week, it's like our 2-week topic, I guess you could say. Wanted to scrub through everything that we got. Wanted to formulate some opinions of our own, and let's just get right into it. So again, the topic of the last 2 weeks, esports franchising as a whole. And then I guess you could include in there, like, should Halo have it? Will Halo have it? So on and so forth. We are a Halo show, but I wanted this kind of to be overarching, considering Call of Duty are doing it, League of Legends is doing it, Overwatch is doing it. It's a new thing in the esports scene, right? So here we go. On Twitter, It's Prof states, the current Activision model excludes all teams and orgs that don't have $25 million to get in, not to count the minimum salary requirements and minimum team members that have to be on salaries. Personally, I don't like it. To add more, that's why the CDL, for example, only has 9 franchises now. How do you run an entire league with just 9 teams? Of course, Activision has made $225 million just from that, but does that show they're only hungry for the money and don't care about esports at all? Great point.
I want to just say, though,
Go for it.
I don't think it shows that they don't care about esports. They're
investing in it clearly.
They're investing in it, and franchising means,
or they're having them invest in it so they can make money off it.
Sure. I mean, you can look at it that way, but the fact is, franchising is gonna, all it's done for the other leagues is bring more popularity to it. When you have set teams, when you have team names rather than business names, when you have regionality versus businesses, people can get behind that more than saying, sure, you can be a envious fan, but there's a parent company behind it and all this.
Right.
When it creates that.
You feel like you have kind of like a part ownership of that team, like as a fan, right?
Yeah. Like I'm going to be a fan of the Minnesota team no matter what.
I want to buy merch already.
Yeah,
they haven't even announced anything.
I know.
Yeah. Yes.
So it brings loyalty to a brand so I don't think people think of esports as this, what esports started as this, people getting together and putting their own setups together and having this. And sure, that was the start in the beginning, but I feel like this is bringing it to the next level.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's not caring about esports. Maybe it doesn't care about you can draw that line. This is like your game moving to the big leagues, right? You have to have those big league numbers to keep up with it. Sure, you can still put on other tournaments but I mean, it's always been kind of the minor leagues, right? I feel like this is COD saying, hey, we're gonna make it and move forward.
Right. The thing that I'm interested in seeing is, considering how COD, the basic formula remains the same with every game release, but technically things change within every year. Right. It's a yearly release. So I'm excited to see how that transitions into the franchise aspect as well. Because like with League of Legends, Overwatch, you have a new character or whatever that comes into the mix, and maybe the meta changes. Maybe there's a patch that comes out that changes how the meta works within the game, but the game basically stays the same throughout. Right. And I think that may lend itself more like better to the franchising aspect, because maybe that way rosters can stay the same, so on and so forth. In regards to what you were saying about like taking their step into the big leagues, we've seen what can happen with the International for Dota, with the League of Legends World Championship, with the Overwatch World League World Championship, with now Overwatch is doing their homestead events, right? Where the Dallas team will be in Dallas and they have home games. They have a stadium, right, that they play in, and so on and so forth. I think I agree with you. I think this is Call of Duty, like you said, taking their step into that, and they have, like, they're behind Activision. So yeah,
Prof, I get where you're coming from, because they are kind of leaving the smaller organizations that you could say built esports.
Right.
These are the people who made it what it is. Like you could say 100 Thieves.
Right.
Optic Gaming, which is no longer Optic Gaming, but brands like that built esports. And now I can see where it feels like they're just leaving them behind. But really what it is they're taking this business that currently isn't regulated. And they're making it to where it can be, and these players can actually make a living off of playing. And I feel like it sucks where it's at, but it's at the point where they are taking that step into making it better for the future.
Right.
Unfortunately, not everyone's going to have the bankroll to roll with them, but there's future possibilities that may be there.
Right. And I don't know if I included it within here, but Brian Makes Games was talking about how this doesn't necessarily need to be the norm, right? There doesn't necessarily have to be these $25 million buy-ins. Like, this is just an example that was set. It doesn't technically have to be that way. The franchises could take a different approach depending upon the title that is being introduced, whether it be Halo or other things too.
Yeah. So I pulled an article back when Overwatch League came about.
Yeah.
And it was from .esports.com. It was an article by Brian Chang.
Okay.
So when Overwatch League came out, new owner of the New England Patriots, Robert Kraft, bought in for $20 million. Joe Lacob, owner of Golden State Warriors, purchased a team for a reported $30 million out of League of Legends. $13 million, sorry. From League of Legends.
Okay.
Followed by the Cavaliers, the owner of the Cavaliers and Houston Rockets all purchased into League of Legends after that. Robert Moore said, the growth of esports has allowed investors to engage with a young male audience that they otherwise would have trouble reaching. Moore owns Phoenix One and was previously the vice chairman of Paramount Pictures. Phoenix One manages the Los Angeles Gladiators Overwatch League team on behalf of Stan and Josh Kroenke, who own the LA Rams, Denver Nuggets, and Arsenal Football Club. there was always this uncertainty in esports because other than the top teams, if you were a sponsor, you didn't know if your relationship with a team was going to last 3 months or 3 years. It definitely has evolved from a bunch of gamers organizing tournaments to now experienced business people with substantial investments really looking to turn this into something for the long term. So, I mean, Prof kind of hit on these points where, yes, it costs a lot to get in. You're leaving some people behind. It feels like they're just kicking out all these old people. But exactly like they said, they're turning it into a legitimate business.
Right.
And when there's that much money on the line, people are going to want it to thrive. There'll be sponsors, stability. It's just going to generate more money and more eyes on esports.
Now, to put things in a little bit more perspective here, while those numbers may seem like a lot to us, considering where esports is going and how still technically this is still a pretty new business venture, right?
Yeah.
That money is a piss in the bucket for everybody that bought in.
Right.
You're talking about owners of sports franchises that have been around for so long that like literally like $50 million would be a piss in the bucket for them. The amount of money that they make because of the sports franchise that they currently own. Robert Kraft, $20 million, nothing. It's literally nothing to him, more than likely, right? The Golden State Warriors, like what, 13 million?
Yeah.
That is literally nothing to them. But that's something for us. That is the stepping stone, right? That's, to me, them putting their money in like that is kind of like putting their feelers out there. I mean, like, oh, I'm sorry. I don't mean for esports. I don't mean to sound like this coming into the esports perspective, but maybe they're looking at it as, oh, I can throw money at that. Let's see if it sticks, right? Because if it does, and they bought in at what they think is a low price, and it keeps exponentially gaining, they keep exponentially gaining, right? This was just a win-win for them. And if they lost 20, 13, 50 million, whatever, that's nothing. And they can just write it off and be like, all right, well, whatever, didn't work out.
Yep. And they can use it. They can probably legitimately write it off as a marketing campaign.
Sure.
Because that's what they're trying to do, is market to younger people.
Right. Now, I hope that we come to a point in time where, now, I'll talk about it later on, but like age restrictions is where I get a little iffy on these things.
Oh, sure.
But I hope that we get to a day where an esports player, regardless of the game that they're playing, can make $100 million for a contract, right? You have some of the top sports players in the world making over $100 million in their 5-6 year contract, depending upon, and then guarantees, brand deals, so on and so forth. I hope we get to a day where esports personalities are able to make that kind of money as well. And just because you have worldwide status at that point, right? You have your LeBron James, your Steph Curry, your Tom Brady, so on and so forth. You can have that as an esports personality as well. It's just a matter of time. But again, I'll just say it now, actually, because I don't want to forget it for later. Age restrictions. My problem is, now the kid who won the Fortnite World Championship, right? Fantastic. That's unbelievable. I think that's like a crazy amount of money. Good for him. They set the rules. Okay. But there comes a point in time where, now I don't know how contracts are written out. I don't know how prize distributions are written out, but the kid's not 18 years old. The kid's not legally an adult in the United States of America. So does he get that money? Well, is that money his parents until he becomes of age? How are contracts written out for people that are under the age of 18? That's where it gets really iffy for me.
Well, you can technically start working here in Minnesota.
16. Well, 15.
15. I started working at McDonald's and earning my own paychecks at 15.
Same.
So that's right. We worked together for like 2 weeks. We did work together,
yep.
That's crazy to think.
And I booked out of there.
Yeah.
Went to old country buffet.
Anyway, I mean, legal age to work is 15, right?
Right.
So if you're that age, like if you're starting to hire like 13 and 14-year-olds, that can be a little iffy, right?
Right.
I say as long as if it blurs the line.
Yeah.
It's like the same thing right now where they're talking about how college players don't get paid.
Right.
Yet they're advertised and used as a booster for the school.
Right. And I am a firm believer that NCAA players or just collegiate players should be compensated.
So
absolutely.
So my next question is, a lot of these professional players are using Twitch as a revenue and streaming service.
Right. And if they're successful, then they are making money off it.
Right. So like, I guess people can look at it and be like, well, they play video games online for free, or not for free, but they make money playing video games online when they're 13 and 12. Why can't they be signed to a team and make money? But
there's contractual obligations at that point.
Well, I mean, if you become a partner with Twitch, don't you have to
sign
a contract?
That is very true. But at the same time, when you are a partner with Twitch, you are technically self-employed. Okay?
Right.
So you pay self-employment taxes, and you have to report those to the IRS, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you have to pay self-employment taxes. You don't get a W-2 from Twitch. You don't get a W-2 from Amazon. Okay? You're not an employee of Amazon. You're not. You're self-employed. Now, I forgot if you get a 1099 or not.
I think
technically that means you're a contractor. I do know. I'm pretty damn sure you have to pay self-employment taxes on Twitch, though, because you are self-employed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's your channel. It's your brand.
Right. Right. You're just using them as a platform, and they take some of your proceeds, obviously.
Yep.
But like when it comes to like big organizations like this, and like, again, that's it. Like you said, it blurs the lines, right?
So I think down the line, just like we have for NBA, NHL, NFL, there's going to have to be, they have like the NFLPA, which is the Players Association.
Yes.
And it's basically like, hey, we set the rules and guidelines for what needs to happen to our players when they enter the league, what their contracts look like, what's okay, what's not. And they have like, that's why we've seen it in NBA and NHL where there are like years where the players are basically on strike because the NFL and the Players Association, or the NHL and the Players Association, can't come to agreement. And there's like a year without hockey, and these professional players go play in wherever, like other leagues or wherever it may be, to keep fresh. But I think there needs to be something like that in esports where there's hey, this, like it kind of sounds like a union, and it kind of is.
No,
but there needs to be another company that regulates, a third party that regulates this to make it seamless.
Right. And I think I talked about it in the discussion as well, where like maybe each franchise should have like a board of directors type situation as well, where things are ironed out. I mean, like below the Players Association, right? So you'd have your Players Association that's overarching, that take care of everything. You may even have your commissioner, right? Overseer of everything.
Yeah.
For the entire league. And then
that'd be Activision, right? For Call of Duty?
Could be. I would hope not. I would hope it's somebody that is more well-versed in, because Activision aren't making the game, right? They're the publisher of it.
Sure. So it needs to be a separate business person.
Yes. It has obviously the players' intentions in mind, because
and
they're
the league. Right? It has to protect the commissioner's job of the NFL is to protect the players in league. That's why we've seen several rule changes over the last year.
Yes, and the helmet changes for the NFL.
To avoid. But it also has to protect the NFL, because if you have players that are consistently getting hurt from concussions, then you need to do something about it. So you're not only protecting the players, you're protecting the league from being sued, you're protecting future. They have to have both in mind.
Yes. So they need to have somebody come in for that as well. And again, it goes back to when I was saying, like, this money's kind of a piss in the pot, right? It's a stepping stone for something that could be gigantically bigger. And I'm hoping we get to that point. But I hate to say that these are necessary steps that need to be taken place, because I don't think that perfect formula has been set yet.
No.
And especially in the esports scene, considering how new it is.
Right. I mean, we've seen other leagues, like other sports leagues, come and go. Like, there have been many attempts for other football leagues.
Right, and the XFL's trying to come back right now.
Yep, and what was the new one was like the AAL or something, AAFL or something that like popped up and then quickly went under because they tried to expand too fast.
Yeah.
So there's a lot out. Esports is so new. It doesn't feel new to us because we've been watching it for years, but we've been like, it's almost like the underground is now starting to come above ground.
Right.
And we're starting to be noticed. And this franchising is allowing it to expand into bigger things.
Right. If you think about it, the NFL is 100 years old this season.
Yeah.
100 years of the NFL, not like when football was first being played, obviously, but when the National Football League was created. It's 100 years since that happened. And rules are still changing, right? There's so many things, there's so many gears turning every single year.
And we're making a lot of other professional sports reference because that's kind of like the business model that franchising is following.
Right.
So
exactly. And like Brian was saying, maybe it doesn't need to follow that same type of scenario with the money buy-ins.
Yeah.
But since these are the examples that we have to go off of, and we've seen them be relatively successful considering how long they're still going, it's not necessarily the bar to set, but a good like representation of where things could be going.
Right. Should we keep going with community comments?
Let's do it up. So LFTG official states, it has its ups and downs. It stinks for the orgs, I'm sure, but the level of production the money brings is crazy. It can also be good for the players as it requires a minimum salary for players.
So another couple of good points here.
Yep.
The level of production, bringing that money in is going to create better looking streams, better production all around. And plus, now you've seen like COD Minnesota, they don't have a team name yet, do they?
No.
But they shown pictures of their facility. They're creating a facility for these guys to come practice every day, to hold scrimmages.
Yep.
It's a professional player's dream right now,
yes.
where they're like practicing at home online. Like you have team houses, right? Like 100 Thieves house, what it may be.
Right. The Optic Hex quarters.
Yep. But now each team is going to have their own facility to be able to do what they want. And hopefully. Yes. It's nice to see that the Minnesota team has something like that. I would like to visit it someday.
Yeah, it'd be cool.
But it's going to bring another level of players are going to want to be in the league.
It's professionalism.
Yeah, yes. Professionalism. That's the word I'm looking for. Yep. And the minimum salaries, yes, if that's a huge thing for the players. If they're not bouncing teams every 30 seconds, I had a falling out with some guy and now they're kicking me from the team. No, if your contract if you're obligated to that team for a certain amount of time, you're there. Right. You gotta work it out with your teammates. So, good point that it brings in some money. It does suck for the organizations that are there, like we've said before. Right. But it's part of progressing.
And we've seen, and we know Nate Shot went out on Twitter and was talking about how it's unfortunate that 100 Thieves won't be represented in the CDL. But he's gotten waves of funding. He's just going to get bigger and bigger. 100 Thieves is only going to get bigger and bigger. They're expanding into Counter-Strike, I believe is what he was talking about. And there's so many different avenues that he can take. And once he gets to that larger level, which he undoubtedly will get to, he can revisit the CDL. Maybe there's something bigger that's out at that time that he wants to get into. Only time will tell. And in terms of the production, yes, we've seen what happens with Overwatch League. We've seen what happened with the League of Legends World Championship, Dota 2, so on. We've seen what can happen when these amounts of money come into play. The stadiums that get like sold out stadiums, right? You have that happen for musical acts, right? You have like Ariana Grande comes in, sells out stadiums, right? Taylor Swift comes, sells out stadiums. League of Legends sells out stadiums. Think about that. And yes, franchising is probably only going to make that bigger. Shane states, I think it's great for stability in the esports scene. It keeps out the fly-by-night orgs and adds a whole new level of stability and dependability. Really, it just makes the structure of that competition more financially stable and, quote, legit, end quote.
Sure. Professionalism, like we were saying before.
Yes.
Perfect.
Trevor Vauble states, a double-edged sword. Great for some stability with players. Seems way too expensive to buy in, so only people with money can do it. There might need to be a union for players a la pro sports to counteract the top folks taking all the money. Also sad to lose lower levels for competitive. The city-based model is going to take some time to get used to. A lot could be said on the subject. As far as Halo is concerned, I don't think it's ready for it. It's going to need to grow fast for people willing to invest. Any points you want to make there?
We usually do our thoughts at the end, but right now we're kind of just going through them with each comment.
Yeah, why not?
So, I agree with everything. Double-edged sword, great for some stability with players, like we're saying.
Yep.
Too expensive. It is for the current orgs, but there are people out there that are going to invest.
That's the thing. Is if current orgs in the esports scene, yes. But if we're thinking about this big picture, not really.
Like you said, union for players, a la pro sports, just like we said before.
Yep.
I agree with that. Sad to lose lower levels for competitive. With the franchising, what I really want to see happen next is just like the Twins or the Wild. Well, for me, those are the ones I know for sports, but they have the Twins they call them farm teams. So they're AAA teams, AA teams, single A teams. And it's basically like that's your amateurs. And you're still signed with the Twins, but you're put in these lower level teams, and that's like your development leagues. So that's like so that you have a chance to work your way up, and people spend years in AA and AAA baseball waiting for their shot at the majors. And maybe that could happen with esports.
It's a great way to look at it.
The Wild have their farm team down in Iowa, the Iowa Wild. The Vikings and all other pro NFL teams have their practice squad. They sign people for, they're not making millions of dollars, but they're making I think it's the minimum is $100,000 a year to be.
That's not something to scoff at.
To be on a practice squad.
Right.
Like all you do is practice and try to improve yourself to maybe one day make it into the NFL.
Yeah.
And we've seen people come out of practice squads onto rosters.
We have.
So, I think there needs to be something like that goes along with the Call of Duty World League and League of Legends, where these players that are working on themselves aren't just out there and no one's looking at them. There needs to be like another league that's really, really taking care of these players.
Right. And then if you think about it on the collegiate level, right, you have your NCAA and all that, and the players work their asses off. I mean, currently they're not getting paid, which is a shame, but they're working.
You can counteract that with their
brand deals.
Well, no, they can't get. I don't think they can get brand deals.
Are you talking about scholarships?
Scholarships. There's tuitions getting paid for.
Yes, that's very true. But just looking at it at a gameplay level, right? They're working their asses off to try to make it into the draft because they want to be drafted by one of these professional teams. And usually when you're drafted higher up, that means you're expected to do well. You're expected to be a starter, so on and so forth. So like you were talking about kind of melding the two things together, if they have those amateur leagues like the professionals already do, right, then those players can probably work their way up. And I imagine there's going to be a draft, or hopefully, I could think that there would be a draft at the end of each year in esports, depending upon the title that's being played. And then those players can be looked at and be like, oh, I saw a lot of improvement in this person. This person going like the first round.
See, that's the thing too. On a lot of professional sports teams, in professional sports, there's the risk of real injury. So you have backups on the team. You expand your roster.
Very true.
You don't need that necessarily for an esports team.
Sure.
I mean, sure, there's sicknesses, illnesses,
right,
and they should maybe have one sub player.
I think they do.
Which, yeah. So there is that, like the draft wouldn't necessarily have to happen in esports because. But they could draft for the amateur teams possibly.
Very true.
You lose a player off your amateur team. You draft someone in new.
I just want to be able to have that opportunity for those amateur players that want to take that next jump and get into the professionals.
Sure. Okay, back to Trevor.
Yes.
He says the city-based model is going to take some time getting used to. For esports, maybe. But it's already out there for me. There's already professional sports that follow this. So it's really like, if you're not from one of the specific areas, I could see how it'd be harder because, we have a team in Minnesota, so we're like, go Minnesota. But if you're from Colorado and there's no Colorado team, who are you going to root for?
Right. And I think for me, that's my problem with like Overwatch League because I like the Dallas Fuel because I know Envy
owns them.
Yes. Right. So I look at that as, I know the Envy brand, right? I know that organization. I'm going to root for them. I like their logo. I think that looks cool. Go Dallas. I'm not from Dallas. I have no affiliation with Dallas. But then when I heard when somebody, maybe it was Nightfox or somebody said something about Call of Duty having a Minnesota team, I immediately latched on.
Yep.
Because I'm like, how often do we get that?
We didn't even know the players yet. We didn't know what was happening. We didn't know what other teams. Just Minnesota, like that's our hometown.
Right.
That's us.
It's exactly it. It's that weird type of like sense of ownership.
Yep.
That as soon as it's announced, it's like, that's mine, right? And so for the Overwatch League, it's hard because there isn't one for Minnesota. But I don't know. We'll see. The esports side is weird though.
So this is the one I was waiting to get into, but we'll talk about it now. As far as Halo is concerned, he says doesn't think it's ready for it.
Yep.
It's going to need to grow fast for people willing to invest. I completely agree.
Yes.
I don't think Halo's ready for franchising.
Not yet. We haven't seen. I think the problem is that we've talked about it countless times as well. It's just the viewership, the playership, it's dwindling, and it's been dwindling for years. The fact that it hasn't remained consistent, like League of Legends has remained consistent ever since it came out of the scene. Like it had its peak. Maybe it'll get bigger, but like it's remained consistent, right? And that consistency is big. Okay, it's not just small. It's not small portions. It's big. Call of Duty, gotten bigger, been remaining consistent. Dota 2. I mean, they're not franchised, but getting bigger, remain consistent, so on and so forth. Even Counter-Strike, for crying out loud. Halo? No. We haven't seen that peak ever again. Since Halo 3, we haven't seen it.
I feel like Halo started esports, but they've,
it was one of the first.
It was one of the first
person shooters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it started that competition. It got out in the limelight, and then other games came in and focused on it. And
right.
I just at this point, we kind of talked about this. What makes a game a good esports game?
Yeah.
And we talked about competitive balance and all this, and but realistically, what makes Overwatch League, League of Legends, Dota, and now Call of Duty kind of stand above is the way they've been able to market themselves to players, market themselves to the community.
Yep.
And like with Call of Duty, there's something fresh and it changes every year. If the players don't like one piece of it, they only have to deal with it for a year. There's constant updates to League of Legends and new heroes and whatever and whatnot. Yeah. Overwatch gets new heroes and new players, and it changes.
Counter-Strike remains the same.
Yes. But
that's technically good in that regard because you know what you're getting.
Yeah, and Counter-Strike has this kind of it's realism, right? Like one shot headshot. It's very strategic, and it's only strategic.
That is a very diehard classic game.
Yes, it relies on gunplay and knowledge, map knowledge. Where with Halo, we've kind of there was the surge during Halo 3, and after 4 ODST, Reach, like since those games and even 5, it's just been downhill.
Yep.
I don't know if there's so many factors that have gone into it. I don't want to just point my finger at one, but there's been many factors that have led to the downhill slide from Halo. And I know I came in late, me personally.
It's okay though.
I know, but I know I've learned from everyone out there what happened.
Yes.
So we're at the point where, like Josh was like, they said it's Infinite's gonna be a spiritual reboot, right?
Right. That's what they've said.
So if it is competitive, hopefully it changes for the good and it brings something fresh that people have been looking for. It can put itself back in the spotlight.
Yes.
Now, are we gonna get there right away? No, it's gonna take some time.
Right.
Honestly, I get that the pros want their voice, but they have to voice it in the right way. I think, personally, from what I've seen, I think the pros have hurt Halo esports. Because if people are looking from the outside, they're just seeing pros complaining all the time. And yes, they needed to complain because things weren't balanced, things weren't right. Who the hell wanted Spartan Charge in Halo 5? Ground Pound was horrible and competitive. It shouldn't have been there from the first place. They should have taken them out. And then map design was bad for competitive.
Notice how Will did not say anything about Sprint.
I think it's fine.
I know
You always bring up Sprint, goddammit.
It's a joke. No, I'm gonna make that point later.
So, Halo Infinite, if 343 wants it to get to that level, they have to do it right by the community and the pros.
Right.
And that's the balance that they've had so much trouble finding. The casual community, I believe, loved Halo 5. I mean, I feel like the casual community loved every game.
I mean, there's still professionals that love Halo 5.
Yeah.
Saiyan,
right.
Renegade.
Right. Now, do they?
Plenty.
I mean, we talked to Saiyan, and he said there's some things he wished weren't there, like the maps being designed for clamber.
Right. And yeah.
And,
clamber.
But as a pro, I feel like you should voice your opinion, but deal with what they give you too. Now, like the difference between Halo and COD is COD gets a new game every year, where Halo, you're playing it for the same 3 years.
Yeah. Or longer.
That could be kind of where the interest doesn't peak with Halo, because it is going to be around for so long. And we've talked about the games as service model possibly coming to Halo, with it being on PC and console, and just like other games where
infinite possibilities.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm getting a little long in the
No,
tooth
you're
here.
fine. You're making great points.
If it does go that route where it's a game service, they're going to have regular updates or things that change the meta to make esports interesting. Don't get me wrong, I'm going to love it no matter what, because it's competitive, it's Halo, it's going to be what it's going to be. But if you want to grow, you have to bring in the outside world to your game. They have to be like, oh, this is crazy. They have, other people have to like it if you want it to grow. If we keep catering to the niche community, it's going to stay within that niche community.
So here's my counterpoint to you.
Okay.
Why does a game need to have something to change the meta? The thing that I keep going back to is Counter-Strike, right? Because it doesn't have to change the meta to remain competitive, to remain engrossing, right? But I understand that game isn't going to have another one of those, more than likely. Like Counter-Strike Go, Global Offensive, the one that's currently being played on, it was kind of not expected to happen because everyone was still playing Source. Yep. But it did. Now the pros voiced their concerns, the players voiced their concerns, there were updates, and it got to the state that it's in right now, right? And it's still being played. And I, honest to God, don't think there'll be another one. I think they're done. I think they've made, in their minds, the quote-unquote perfect competitive shooter. They're going to stick with it, ride or die.
Sure.
Okay? Halo, I do understand, is a cycled release, right? You have your maybe 3, maybe 4 years between releases. The game will change. And the joke I've consistently made is, oh, Halo infinite possibilities. Maybe there doesn't need to be one after this. There's going to be.
I think there will be.
The franchise will continue. That's obvious. But why does this need to be different?
I think it's because we've had the same game for the last 5 years with Halo 5.
Yeah.
And we've seen what it's done. It's viewership was okay compared to previous viewership, not great.
Right.
But
when it first released, it was good because it was the new thing. Right.
Right.
Infinite will have the same ordeal. When it first comes out, everyone's going to be like, oh my God, it's a new Halo game. People who don't play Halo normally, oh my God, it's a new Halo game. And based off what we've heard, there's going to be a November article this year that's going to talk about HCS on its anniversary and probably what's going to happen in the future. So it sounds to me, based off what was said in that previous article, that this article that we're getting in November will give us not necessarily the roadmap, but a little look inside as to what's going to happen for the future. So we're going to have something to go off of, regardless of how big or small that is. I don't know.
Sure. So maybe it doesn't have to change, but there needs to be maybe map updates.
Sure.
I don't know, something to keep the game feeling fresh.
Okay.
If it's going to be out for that long again.
Right.
I had another point, but I lost it.
I'm sorry.
You said, it is on a cycle. So if we're getting a new game every 3 years, it's it's kind of where we got at that point where we started out high with viewership for 5,
right?
And it just slowly dwindled as we went on. Again, a lot of factors going into that. I think what franchising does is you get that stability of rosters. We don't get the people changing teams all the time, orgs in and out.
And see, that's the funny thing too, is that with Roster Mania on this show, obviously it's a fun segment, but it's also just when it comes to events, like major events, right? And you see teams changing left and right.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it makes for a fun segment, but when I go through and I get the show notes done, it's fucking annoying.
That people are changing so much?
Yes. We talk about it all the time. We talk about consistency, right? I would much more root for a team that sticks together. And now maybe you do have to make a change that you like. Maybe there's just a player in there that's like, oh, it's isn't gelling correctly, but we have that one person in mind that we can bring in, and things are just perfect.
Yeah,
I understand that, but when you're making changes once a week, once every 2 weeks, what? Come on.
And that's why I think. Like, that's why Halo also, if you look at Call of Duty and these teams stay together for their seasons, right? Most of the time. There are
a couple subs every now and again.
Yep. But you have the base of the teams, like the 100 Thieves team was the team, right? For most of the season.
Right. That Optic team was the team. So
when you don't have, like, we left Halo 5 in a state of there was events. And even right now, there's events, but there's no season, there's no league.
Right.
So people just come and go as they please, form whatever teams they want. And yes, that's what Halo was built on and started out as, but it doesn't generate that consistency, and it's harder to follow as a casual viewer because you're going to be like, oh, Envy has, or, when Envy was there, Envy has a whole new team this event.
Right.
You're like, why am I going to root for them again?
Right. Do you have enough brand association that you're like, okay, I'll stick with these guys? Or you're like, no, I'm going to go follow the player that I was paying attention to before.
Like, I've been a fan since I've come into Halo of Pistola and Snipedown.
Yep.
And that's why
Reciprocity.
I was Envy, Reciprocity.
Yep.
I liked Pistola. I just followed them.
Yeah.
They're my favorite players. They've been wishy-washy lately, but still my favorite players.
And realistically, the only team that's remained consistent was Tox.
It was Tox, yeah. Everyone else has moved around.
Yep.
And something else that you could say hurt Halo viewership is going from Halo 5 back to Halo 3. The Halo 5 community was there, and it kept going. Like, there's people playing Halo 5. I could find games consistently until the esports scene went to Halo 3. Now Halo 5's, I'm going to say, it's a dead game. You can't find... you have champs matching up with gold players. Like, how does that make sense?
It doesn't.
And it happens because there's no one playing the game.
Right.
And sure, everyone may have jump ship to Halo 3, but now we're playing a 10-year-old game that, people liked as an esports, but it's not drawing in any more viewers than Halo 5 was. Probably about the same to maybe even a little less. Halo is not... unfortunately not where it needs to be to go into franchising.
Right. We're not there yet.
There's a lot that's going to have to go into it to make it that way. You have to basically rebuild the brand, draw in organizations.
Right.
We're kind of back to the foundation here for Halo. And at least in my eyes, because what made COD successful is that you had all the high-end teams consistently there every year. With Halo, we saw orgs dipping like crazy in and out, and it was because there wasn't money there in Halo.
There wasn't.
So there's this whole it's marketing, it's association with the brand of Halo. It's all this that needs to rebuild itself and rebuild sustainability to have organizations look back into it, and then have a overwatching league come in and be like, oh yeah, we can make money. Let's set this up and run with it.
And Call of Duty's in that prime position to do so.
They've been one of the top esports for years now.
Yes.
So that's why they got the franchising.
You know what the funny thing is? I wouldn't be surprised if Gears got franchising before Halo did. with the consistency that Gears have had in their competitive seasons. And I mean, like, obviously, if it's better for the players and it turns out that it's a great thing overall, I want it for all games. But
yeah,
it just with the way things have been going, with the way things have been trending, I could definitely see Gears getting it well before Halo ever did.
And that could be another topic, is what happens when too many leagues have franchising.
Great question.
Because
it's a great question.
If there's too many products out there, you're gonna overflood the market.
Right. That's exactly it.
Just like,
too much supply, not enough demand.
Yes. There we go.
Products go out of business.
We should go. We have been rambling on. Let's get through these. I'm gonna stop talking. We'll run through the rest of these comments.
Well, if there's something you want to chime in on, by all means, go right ahead.
Okay,
But yes,
okay.
I'll read through them. Lexi states, 100 Thieves not even being able to afford COD esports due to the franchising route it's taking is reason enough for me to be very wary of the model because it can detract heavily from grassroots movements. But I guess that's why grassroots movements exist in the first place. They're not to the same league of franchising. Moving on. Frishavakadus states, I don't think so. With the CDL, buy-ins are so high that it's the end of organizations as they know it, especially with Halo, where organizations like Final Boss, Straight Rippin', Carbon, and Tox are iconic and resonate with viewers. I think it would be right to keep it the way it is. Keep in mind that Final Boss and Carbon are owned by MLG, so they are not their own thing. And then Straight Rippin', yes, is its own thing, and Tox are obviously their own thing as well. I mean, we'll just have to wait and see. Because maybe now that COD is franchised, those, like Will was saying, those like static rosters and the static locations will resonate with viewers because they'll have that thing to latch onto, like us in the Minnesota Vikings, the Wild, and then like people in California, the LA Rams, so on and so forth. Yeah. Elderly Chef states, I would say it's good for general growth. The fan experience definitely becomes better with the larger budget, but as a player, you feel it's more difficult to, quote, make it, end quote.
That might drive more people, though.
It could. And like you said, if those amateur leagues come into play under these franchises, maybe people could have a better ability to, quote, make it, end quote. Sanders states, I love it in Overwatch World League, but I think Halo is too small for this. Yes, we agree. Goalie Sniper states, okay, franchising in esports. I know absolutely nothing and have done zero research, but here's my opinion anyway, because why not? On the good side, it could potentially mean more stability within the scene. If you have set teams and organizations that can't just decide at a Tuesday brunch to leave the scene, so that could be good. It could mean better salaries for players, more coverage from mainstream sports news outlets. I do hear a fair bit about the Vancouver Overwatch team on Canadian sports outlets. That's awesome. Local teams mean local followings and fan bases. It's the old, my area code is better than your area code, but I think the current esports model will have to be changed in order to make a system like that work. You can't just have prize money be the way to make big money. You'll have to have sponsorships and profit sharing among the league. And there are parts that start to take away from what I believe the heart of gaming is. Like, will players playing for the Florida team have to move to Florida to be part of that organization? Because I believe that a huge benefit of gaming is being connected to people over vast distances. So forcing people to move to be a part of the team is kind of the opposite of what I think gaming does so well already. And then there's league play. If you make people move, then you should have to travel to each location for league play and have LAN streamed watching available. Also, if you buy into a game for a franchise, then you should be bought into that game's series, not just that title. Because esports moves quick. Not a lot of games have a long shelf life. And lastly, the worst written essay ever. I don't think it's necessary to impose existing sports infrastructures on esports, because esports is still so new that the way it's currently run is probably not going to be the way it's run for the next 30 years. So there's going to be some different forms we try before we figure out the best way for the owners to make money. The players need to make money, and the viewing experiences need to be enjoyable for the fans. Do you have any thoughts? Real quick?
So as far as people moving to where their teams are located, I know that the Minnesota roster is moving to Minnesota. The COD team already tweeted like, hey, what should our players know about living in Minnesota? So they are moving them here.
Okay.
So they're just like pro sports teams, like most of the Vikings players, you don't necessarily have to live here, but when you have to be at practice every day,
you got to be there.
You got to be there. So they literally do have, like, I think they're building a hotel over by the Vikings practice facility, and they have people buy apartments and condos all around. The players do, so they can live in the city. they play in. I don't see anyone flying home to Florida every week to fly back.
No.
Like that's.
And then with your set salaries, that make things a lot easier to have like a home in that city that you're franchised with.
Right. I agree that if you buy into a game for a franchise, you're bought into the series. So these teams that are buying into Call of Duty are buying into Call of Duty, not Modern Warfare.
Right. And maybe that's another issue with Halo because you are on that 3 to 4 year cycle. You don't know what you're going to get in the next game.
Yeah.
But with Overwatch, you know what you're getting. With Call of Duty, you basically know what you're getting.
Yeah. Like,
right.
Honestly, playing this, I played the beta, right?
Yep.
For Modern Warfare. The shooting kind of felt the same as every other COD.
Yep.
The movement is mostly the same. They added sliding, which is something new, or not new, but
no, it's been there, but it's a mechanic that you know of.
Yeah, it all feels fluid. Nothing like the COD base model doesn't really change much.
They removed the manual heal.
They did.
I'm upset. I'm just kidding. I wished it was going to be there. Is there a perk or something that maybe has it?
I saw someone like inject themselves at one point when I was watching Shroud play.
I'm gonna have to pay more attention.
So there might be a perk to heal quicker. Granted, I'm level 2, so I didn't unlock anything yet.
It's okay. Those level 30 pros did though.
Yes. So yeah, you'd have to buy into the series into the game series, not the individual game. And I'm sure these people that are spending millions of dollars for a spot it's not millions of dollars for the year. Right.
And the other thing too, Justin made great points in his post. Are they going to have to travel to other locations in order to play those teams?
Here's what I see and envision happening is that if they're streaming them, maybe each team streams from their own facility or their center. And it's like streamed to the COD channel, but you have cameras on everybody. It's online, but you get to see both teams and playing each other. It's
still professional.
Yeah, it's still professional.
Sure.
And then of course for events or World League, whatever they do for Worlds, or they're obviously there. So
right, and I think for the Pro League in Call of Duty, I think they had the players compete next to each other.
Yeah,
like I'm pretty sure they were all in the same location.
Because so they were already paying for players to come out and play.
Seems like it.
So that might just continue.
Right. I don't know if that was for all the matches, but I believe because they were streamed and you could clearly see that both teams were directly across from one another.
And that's part of owning a franchise. I mean, again, bringing it back to professional sports. We don't need to follow them, but they already have something in place. So here we go. It's on the team to be able to fly, pay for hotels, to take care of their players when they're traveling to another team to play a game.
Right, you're investing in it.
You're investing in your team to potentially win money in the Super Bowl, and that's it's a big thing about like the NFL, and you can look at any sports team too. If you're buying a franchise and things aren't going the way you want it to, you can sell. And depending on how your team is doing, could create more value depending on what they look at it. It's all business. Business is business. That's what it is. So they're looking at how much your team is making. What are your merchandise sales? What are your ads? What are your, endorsements? All this. It's all part of the business. And that's what you want to build when you go into franchising. You're building a brand. You're not, so you can look at it in the sports world too. There's teams like the Minnesota Twins who haven't been to a World Series in 30 years, 20 years.
Yeah, since 91.
91, almost 30 years.
Yep.
And they've been a mediocre team, but because of the branding they built, their location, they still what players they bring in, they don't go over their salary cap, so they don't not spending a ton of money on players. And you add profit sharing on top of that, they're making money just by being relevant every year and maybe not going far into the playoffs, but being relevant. People are watching and tuning in, and that's what makes them the money.
Yep.
So if things are going south for you, maybe an ownership change is the right thing to do for the team because they're going to bring in a new, fresh take on business and what they should be doing.
Right. We've seen that with like the LA Lakers and so on and so forth, ownership changes. So, or like GM changes,
yeah,
so on and so forth.
So, but so when there's GM changes, it's still the same organization owning that team. It's just changing the But the thing with esports, so is there chances for someone to sell their spot? Is that something that's worked out, or are you stuck for a whole year? Like, I guess I'm curious. I don't know the details behind it, but
right. I'd love to see the, like, quote unquote rule book for how that's going to take place.
Yeah.
Considering this is so new. I'd actually love the insight of like Overwatch and stuff like that on how they're running things.
Mm-hmm.
Because
they're successful. They're doing great.
Right. Okay, let's move over to Discord. Brian Makes Game states, franchising is an interesting but unproven model for esports currently. Creating regional franchises that fans can latch onto with stability has a ton of upsides that could prove really successful. For Halo, I say they don't franchise, and I think that's the right call for now. There are too many iconic brands in Halo to just throw them out and start with a new franchise, and I feel similarly about COD despite them franchising. But that does mean that Halo esports could still struggle with identity issues plagued by org and roster changes. As I write this, I think I'm changing my own mind, but maybe they should franchise, lol. If they did franchise, I would want to see them bring all the old brands back as the franchises. Consider a league where the franchises are Final Boss, Carbon, Instinct, Triggers Down, Status Quo, Believe the Hype, Straight Rippin', etc. The fans would go bonkers for that, and it could provide the stability necessary. Fuck it, I'm for franchising, but only in this particular direction.
Again, they could buy the MLG teams. They could buy the trademarks.
They could. And the other thing is that looking at with nostalgia glasses on, obviously all of those old brands are recognizable to me, right? But a lot of the new viewers, they're not. Like, a lot of the new viewers that are out there that came in with Halo 5 don't know who Final Boss were, don't know that dynasty, right? They don't know Carbon. They don't know Triggers Down, Believe the Hype. I mean, now that Believe the Hype now got repurchased, that could be a different story. But you know where I'm coming from here. So
it's like, also if it's almost like if you expanded the NFL and you brought back the Tennessee Oilers. Like, people nowadays that just started watching football aren't going to know what that is.
Or even from 3 or 4 years ago, like me, I had no idea who they were until they were talked about, like, from analysts.
Yeah.
Like on shows that I watch, I'm like, oh yeah, that's what they used to be called. Okay.
So yeah.
No idea. So it could be hard, but, and like we said, we don't think they're ready for it yet, but we'll just have to wait and see. High Tech Redneck states, I have a lot of thoughts on this, but we'll try to keep it as short and concise as I can. In my opinion, which could be wrong, there are far more negatives to franchising than positives, and the positives could be achieved through other ways that don't have as much risk for being detrimental to orgs or the esport as a whole. I think it pushes out smaller orgs that don't have the $25 million dollars to risk when they may not get a return on that investment. Sure, teams can get investors, but smaller orgs that haven't proven they can win championships aren't going to have the pull to get those massive investments. Along those same lines, I think it's going to make it even more difficult for players to break into the scene and get on a top team. I'll use Frosty as an example. If an org had just spent $25 million to buy a CWL spot, they're going to go after players who've proven they can compete at the top. They're probably not going to take the chance on a player who hasn't ever competed in COD, no matter how good he was at Halo. Sure, there's supposedly going to be some kind of path to pro to help in that, but wasn't there supposed to be something similar for the last 2-ish years in COD, yet you never heard anything about it? Who's to say this won't be the same type of thing? I personally think location-based franchising is stupid. That could be because I have no state pride. So I'm not going to be supporting a team just because they happen to represent Texas. I guess that may be a way to give new fans a team to cheer for, at least until they figure out what players they like and want to support. But unsure how many new eyes it'll bring to the game for that to even matter. Maybe this part is just the nostalgia factor, but I always like the idea of being able to build a team with a few buddies and go to any given MLG Open and play through the open bracket where you at least had a chance to do well and maybe catch the eye of top players. With franchising, there's not going to be an open tournaments, or they're not going to be the kind of opens we've grown to know and love. The rumors I've heard sound like the open tournaments will just be amateur players and these pro players who aren't starters on their teams. It may sound harsh, but how many people are going to watch tournaments comprised of amateur players and pros who apparently weren't good enough to actually play on pro teams? When it comes to viewership, COD already doesn't have that great of numbers unless you've got a team like Optic, FaZe, or 100 Thieves on stream. If your game of the week or however that's going to work is between two teams that don't have those massive fan bases, how many people are really going to watch? I think of this kind of like they had land leagues the last couple years. I don't know the viewership numbers for those, but I've heard they were pretty low unless one of those teams I've mentioned were playing and we already know 100 Thieves isn't going to be in it. FaZe is uncertain, and the Optic that will be there isn't the real Optic. I think it worked for Overwatch because that was such a new game and competitive league. They didn't have those established teams yet. Stripping away the branding from the orgs for the CWL just feels like a giant screw you to the orgs that got the esport to where it is. I'm sure there are positives, salaries for pro players, better player stability, and yet more money for Activision. In short, I'm about 98% against it, at least in the format they use for Overwatch World League and what we're assuming the CWL will be using too. Thankful that Activision has nothing to do with Halo, and if Halo ever does go the franchising route, I hope they lean more towards the LCS model. That's League of Legends, I believe. Okay, a lot to get through here. I'm just going to make a few points. So let's see here. The no state pride thing. Okay. We talked about it before. We feel like state pride is going to be a thing. Now, in regards to the players and following the players that you like, think about that. Deion Sanders, right? People liked Deion Sanders. They followed Deion Sanders where Deion Sanders went, right? What else you got? Just throw out some player
People
names.
are Tom Brady fans just because he's so great at what he does.
Right, and they're not New England fans.
Right.
They're just like Tom Brady.
I'm personally rooting for Teddy Bridgewater down in New Orleans, even though, he started as a Viking, got injured, moved around. He's making a miraculous comeback. I'm rooting for his story, not just because I'm not a New Orleans fan at all. I hope they go 0-16 all year, but,
Same.
but I'm rooting for Teddy to do well because he's just a genuine person and a great guy. I'm rooting for him as a person, not the team.
Right. So yeah, I think people definitely have an association with the players themselves, and they could definitely go the way of the player themselves and not focus on the actual location of the team. So I definitely think that exists, or that can exist. As for you stated Frosty as an example, Beth. Now, you made your comment before these rosters were confirmed, but Frosty is on a team, confirmed. So we'll see how that plays out. Even Shotzi's on a team, and Shotzi never really had his chance.
Right.
So maybe just, let's see. What am I trying to say? Isn't there like a phrase of, oh my God, I'm forgetting, but like maybe there were just talks that were had, conversations were happening out there in the Call of Duty space, and where Shotzi's name was said probably more than once.
Like backroom deals.
Right, exactly. And maybe they see something special in him. They brought him up. The rookie, you could say, right?
Right.
And who knows what he's going to do? Maybe he's going to be amazing, maybe not, but they're going to take a chance on him. I think we already talked about viewership and whatnot, and what we think franchising is going to do to it. I do understand the giant screw you to the orgs that got it to where it is. We talked about that as well.
It does suck for them.
It does. It does.
One thing I think, did she touch on how many people are going to watch if it's two teams that aren't doing well?
Right.
You still have people watch Miami games.
Oh my God.
They're
that team
horrible.
is trash.
People, that's what it's all about. You have to build that brand loyalty through your organization, and maybe I feel like I'm relating everything to pro sports. But like the Dolphins, Dan Marino played for the Dolphins back in the day, and he was such a huge player, brought in a lot of fans.
Dan Marino.
And they just want, if your team does well at one point, people are going to latch on and want to root for you, and maybe they stick with you through the troubled times to hopefully get to those good times again. So I think people are going to watch if they build that loyalty, and that's what it's all about: marketing, building your brand, making people like you.
I'm going to say Teddy Bridgewater probably did pretty damn well today, because I have Alvin Kamara on my fantasy team, and he had 37.1 points.
Wow.
And Alvin Kamara is a backfield running back.
Yeah.
So
he catches the ball too.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So 37.1 points.
Woo.
I imagine Teddy did pretty okay.
Okay.
All right, moving on. Heavy Rainfall states, I'm hardcore for franchising, but I want them to also... Jesus, I almost just choked my own spit. That was not included in Heavy Rainfall's quote, by the way. That was just me. He states, I'm hardcore for franchising, but I want them to also create collegiate or pro-am appeal. The open market to esports is what drives it right now, and if every game jumps to franchises, someone at home won't understand how to enter the industry, and that's a serious problem. I also think they should allow orgs to buy into the states. Why can't we have Kansas City Carbon Tennessee 100 Thieves, or even California Optic? Why does it have to be brand new names? I know they will lose some fans because of the location changes, but I'm sure they would gain some. It's the same way football is right now. My neighbor loves the New York Yankees, but he has never lived in New York, nor does he ever plan to visit. Matter of fact, I think he hates New York, but boy does he love that pitcher for the Yanks. I feel like Halo should go franchising at launch for Infinite, and my 2 reasons for that are, 1, to shake up the scene. You cannot tell me you guys aren't tired of Talks winning, big fan, but one team winning consistently will kill any scene. And 2, it'd be too late after launch. If they do it after launch, people will already have established orgs and names from the first year or birth of Infinite. Then they suddenly go franchises. Bad play. Anything you want to say on that, Will?
No. I
Okay.
talk too much.
No, you're fine. The college and pro-am, right? We talked about that. We think it'd be great. I loved your example, Will, of you saying that the already professional sports that exist have those types of avenues established. I think at an esports level, I think that'd be fantastic. I like that a lot. And it'd be even better if they shine a light on that, right? Because maybe right now in the professional side of things, I didn't know. I swear to God, I had no idea that existed until you just said that, Will.
Oh, yeah.
Not kidding. I had no idea. And that's a problem. I think there should be, that should be talked about maybe just a little bit more. Like, obviously you don't want to detract from the big names, right? But if I knew, that's awesome. I would love to learn more about that. But again, we talked about it in heavy. I love where your heart's at, but just the way with Halo as it's been, I don't think the money's there. I don't think the viewership's there, so on and so forth for Infinite, but we'll see. We'll see. Feistro states, some of your points make sense, but franchising won't work in Halo. There aren't any orgs with that kind of money to purchase a franchise location that are currently in Halo or have an interest in Halo at the moment. So Feistro also made multiple comments throughout the thread, but I like this overarching comment. Because, we agree. I don't think there's any, it's not there. It's just not there. It hasn't established itself as that top again. It just hasn't. Scudpuddle, aka Spudcuddle, states, I don't think franchising can work in any esports title, not long term, not in the way we see professional sport franchising, at least not in America. There are far too many games and they release far too often. Sports work because of the physicality of them. You start young, you learn fundamentals, play pee-wee ball, grow, play through adolescence, play through high school, maybe college, then pro. If you're lucky, you go pro early. That's at least 10 to 15 years of development for pro sports. Games won't last 10 to 15 years. Sure, video games as an industry will be around during that development, and you'll learn to be good at video games, and you can even jump into titles, but you can't hone a skill for one game over that span. There are software, hardware limitations on what you can actually do. Not to mention that there are more and more titles trying to compete for their share of the video game industry pie. There are just too many of them to be successful in the existing way we see sports franchising. Oh, and I don't want it for Halo. A major appeal for video games is that it is something we can do, something that's achievable for the common kid with an Xbox, a controller, and a dream. Something that a ragtag group of kids can go to their first tournament and make a splash and shake up an open tournament. An opportunity like that will be taken away with franchising unless you have that structured growth and development. And in my opinion, we're years and years away from that being a reality. It had nothing to do with the cost of a franchise spot or the success of a game. Apart from Smash games, they don't last competitively. And I have no idea how Smash works, so could someone DM me and enlighten me? I thought those were great points all around, to be honest with you. Thinking about it at the 10 to 15 year development cycle, you're right. Games don't have that. Now, I think going back to it, I think the closest we've gotten is maybe Counter-Strike, maybe StarCraft, but we've seen how StarCraft has dwindled, right? StarCraft 2 came out, it was huge, started to dwindle. Counter-Strike is still where it's at, and I think that's the biggest representation we have right now, but that's not 10, 15 years. Counter-Strike Global Offensive hasn't been out 10 to 15 years.
Then again, you could say it doesn't take 10 to 15 years
To develop that skill.
to develop the video game skill.
Because it's not as physical.
It's not muscle memory. It's not learning plays. It's not learning names. It's literally you can learn how to play a game pretty quick.
Right. And it's learning metas in different ways.
Right. And so it's learning strategy. If you just had to learn strategy, and for the NFL, you'd be a coach, not a player.
True.
So I feel like the players that are already there, like the pros, like I don't think Shotzi picked up a Halo 5 and an Xbox and became a pro that day. He's been playing games his whole life.
Yeah, and he started with previous Halos too, as we talked about.
There is a development up to becoming a pro in the spotlight. So you could follow people, and there is learning muscle memory on the sticks, I guess you could say. So I think there is a development period to becoming that level of player, but he's right. Titles change all the time. I think that's what's part of the COD appeal, is that there is a new title every year. So little things change, but it's still basically the same base game at its core.
Right. Couldn't agree more. Viscous states, I want that money flowing and the game's growing. You dig?
I like it.
I told you I'd include it. There it is. And then finally, Zarners states, wait, is this? Yeah, this is it. Zarners states, some very interesting conversations going on here. I've done a decent amount of research on the topic in the past, and simply put, it's a complicated topic that isn't black and white in my mind. At the moment, it's mostly an untested theory. Franchising in esports has been attempted in the past as early as 2007 with the Championship Gaming Series, CGS. That one failed, but there were so many things wrong with the CGS other than franchising that it's not surprising. Obviously, the more recent examples are the Overwatch World League and the NA, LCS, LEC, LPL for the League of Legends. It's hard to judge how successful that they have been early on, but in a few more years we'll have more data to work with to draw some better conclusions. I will say that at the outset of franchising in esports, I was pretty against it. I saw it as the death of large-scale open tournaments and as a blow to the community. However, after a decent amount of research into the topic and taking in other perspectives, I can see that there are plenty of really good reasons for considering franchising, including long-term stability, salaries and unions for players, and potentially a stronger community around organizations and teams as opposed to the current fluidity of fandom that can be seen due to roster mania or orgs dropping out of certain leagues. Another thing is that esports doesn't have to follow the exact same franchising model as sports. We don't have to do localized orgs and teams. We don't have to have completely closed leagues. We don't have to have orgs completely rebrand for these leagues. Many of us come from a US perspective, and since that's what we grew up with seeing in traditional sports, we just assume that's exactly how esports franchising will look. I'm not saying it won't be similar, but what I am saying is that we have the ability to pick what works best for esports from the US sports franchising model and make it our own. Concerns over a game longevity are certainly well-founded. What would happen if a game franchises only to have the game flop? Would that be detrimental to franchising for other games in esports as well? Certainly a stable game that doesn't have drastically different titles coming out every year or two would be the most viable option for franchising. That is certainly a selling point for League of Legends and Overwatch, even though patches and champion hero editions could drastically change the way games play. I'm very interested to see how Call of Duty handles their yearly releases with franchising in mind and whether they make significant changes between each title, a la Ghost to Advanced Warfare, or if the games stabilize and are more similar each year than in years past. If anything, a game like Counter-Strike has proven that releasing a new game doesn't mean changing the core concepts of the game. Each iteration of CS has been more akin to a large patch and graphics update rather than an actual new game. Granted, for the pro players, the changes between 1.6 and Source were quite drastic, while Go is typically regarded as a middle ground between the two. However, the core of the games were the same maps, the same guns and equipment, with slightly different behaviors, the same team sizes, the same game type. This has allowed Counter-Strike to remain one of, if not the top esport for over a decade now, and it is growing even to this day and showing no signs of slowing down despite many difficulties that the scene has and still has to overcome. Gambling and match-fixing scandals, the oversaturation of tournaments, etc. As a side note, if you haven't watched a Counter-Strike tournament, I implore you to do so. It is simple to understand, and it's one of the most absolute best esports from a spectator standpoint out there. StarCraft is a whole other beast to go into, but I've already wrote a ton, so I won't go into that for now. Overall, I'm rather torn on whether I'm for it or against franchising. I can see the pros and cons on both sides. I'd say overall, I think I lean towards franchising as being the highest likelihood of long-term growth and stability in the scene, but I don't think that every game should franchise. As far as Halo is concerned, I would err towards waiting until we have at least a full year of competition under our belt with Infinite before taking a long, hard look into what's best for the scene. Ultimately, like everyone else, I just want esports to thrive no matter what system we adopt. TLDR, it's not black and white. Not enough data from current examples to really judge how successful franchising is or could be. Franchising in esports doesn't have to be the same as traditional sports. Longevity of a game is concerning, but other games have proven it can be done. Overall, I'm torn on franchising in esports and can see pros and cons. Lean towards franchising is most likely for long-term success, but don't think that every game should franchise. For Halo, I'd say hold off, at least for a full year. Just want to see the esports scene thrive, regardless of franchising or no franchising.
All right. I guess final thoughts. It does make sense that, you don't have again, he states on the open tournaments, all that. It looks like they're starting to follow the same model as traditional sports with the teams being in localized places.
Right. I think they looked at what Overwatch League was doing
and wanted to follow.
That's what it seems like to me, because if you think about it, Overwatch, right?
Yeah.
Activision Blizzard. Call of Duty. Activision Infinity Ward.
Yep.
Okay. I mean, for this game, right? But no matter what, publishing is Activision.
Yep.
They're part of it. So I think they looked at that and they're like, this can work. And they went with it.
It's a heavy topic.
It is a heavy topic.
A lot of people are for it. A lot of people are against it.
Right. And I can definitely see both sides for sure.
Yeah.
Just like Zarner was talking about.
Right. I do think, though, for long-term growth of a scene, franchising is the way to go.
Right. It's stability.
It's stability, yes.
Well, it can be stability.
If it's done right.
Yes. Absolutely.
Something
that was never touched on here, and it just popped in my mind as reading through Zarner's comments. If you think about it, Madden has professional play, right? NBA 2K has professional play as well. And some of the professional NBA teams are purchasing teams in 2K. All of franchising, right?
Sure.
Like, if I'm not mistaken, I think Golden State has a team in 2K. Like, there are those NBA teams, those NBA owners are looking at this. Now, again, this is like technically for their own game, but if you look at it, they're seeing this as viable. And NBA is one of the most watched sports in the world. Maybe the video game aspect of that can translate a little bit. They saw value in it. They invested. They have their own team. But again, that's just another example I'm bringing to the table here.
Sure. Yeah, there is. When you see people that have already purchased multi-million-dollar sports teams spending millions into esports teams, they have to see it as a viable option. They're not just throwing money in it willy-nilly. They're going to have to break it down and be pitched why they can make money.
Well, okay, here's the thing too. So part of me does think that with the amount of money that is being thrown, it is kind of willy-nilly. Because I imagine... So you said Robert Kraft.
Yeah.
Put money into it, right?
Yep.
Do you honest to God think Robert Kraft is sitting there and thinking about the esports franchise that he invested into? I doubt it. I bet he's focused on the New England Patriots. I bet he's focused on his team winning a Super Bowl. And I bet he's focused on making his money.
Right. So
I bet he has somebody talking to him, maybe bring him a sheet of paper being like, here's how we did. Here's what your income looks like.
Well, let me go through the purchase prices of some NFL teams here.
Go ahead. Yeah. I bet these are fucking massive.
Carolina Panthers was purchased for $2.2 billion.
$billion.
Miami Dolphins, $1.1
billion.
Rams was $750 million, so not valued as much at the time.
Sure.
You see the Redskins, Texans in that $700 million. The Jets, $600 million. The Vikings were purchased previously for $600 million. Current value, though, is $2.4 billion.
See, think about that. And you had Robert Kraft invest $20 million into an esports franchise. Piss in the pot.
Right.
It literally means nothing to him.
Yeah, Robert Kraft purchased the Patriots for $172 million, and now they're worth $3.8 billion.
There you go.
So that's what they're seeing in franchise.
Right. Now, with the way esports are right now, like I said, to us, that is a lot of money. To us, $20 million. To the franchisees, right? $20 million is a lot of money because that's their starting off point. If you think about that, like you said, how much did Robert Kraft buy the Patriots for? 100 and some million,
yeah.
right? Okay. And now they're worth $3 billion.
Yeah.
So if you think about that, $20 million to invest right now could see year-over-year growth where you have it now, where that's a $100 million franchise at that point in time.
Yep.
If things go correctly, if things continually move up.
Yep. And then you keep making profits off that. If it starts to, it's good. What they're seeing now, they're investing in it early. So they're hoping for growth.
Right.
And if it even starts to tail off and go down and someone wants to get out, and maybe that $20 million team is now worth $80 million and they get out and they take their money and run.
Yeah.
But they made growth.
Exactly. They made growth. And like I said, it's like comparing apples and oranges right now. You know what I mean? Like the amount of money wise.
Oh, sure.
But if you look at it, it's $100 million to buy an NFL team at that time, years and years and years ago, right? $20 million to invest in an esports franchise, relatively speaking, years and years and years ago. Okay. You look at it 15, 20 years from now, if things are on the up and up, that could be exponentially larger. And yes, Robert Kraft has millions to blow, whatever, but it could be very, very huge for the scene.
Yeah,
absolutely. Okay. Any last thing you want to say about it before we close out the show?
I'm for franchising, but you can't do it to every game.
Correct. I think Zarner's hit that point too.
You can't oversaturate the market with it because then you're going to split viewership and it's going to hurt the scene. Now you do have like Dota and League of Legends they're similar, right?
Yeah.
Overwatch League kind of brings the FPS a little bit of, more reliant on the hero abilities.
Right.
And it's a different kind of mode to that game, right?
Yeah.
Now Call of Duty's going the franchising way, purely FPS. Is it besides Counter-Strike? Counter-Strike's not franchise, is it? I don't think it is.
No.
So
I do not believe so.
Is COD the first FPS to franchise at this point? I believe it is.
I mean, technically Overwatch is.
Sure.
Overwatch is a first-person shooter.
Gotcha. But it's the first,
arena shooter.
That's what I'm looking for.
Yes, I believe that Call of Duty is the first arena shooter to be franchised.
So again, that's their market is arena shooter, right?
Okay, now people are, I guaranteed somebody is like, arena, you don't mean like it's not fucking Doom or Quake or anything like that. I mean like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's not.
You know what I mean?
Technicalities aside,
yes.
just let it. Yeah, it is what it is. So these games that are doing it now and early are going to have the first foothold in that market. That's why they're doing it.
Sure.
So Call of Duty already beat Halo to the punch. If Halo wants to come in for that slice of the pie, they're going to have to fight now Call of Duty for a slice.
Right.
Of the quote unquote arena shooter.
Pie.
Yes.
Yeah. It's a delicious pie.
I bet it would be phenomenal.
Yes. Ooh. It doesn't have M&Ms in it.
Final thoughts, Josh.
No, I am like we talked about. I think, like you said, long term, this is definitely something that should happen depending upon the game that is played. Zarner just made a great point regarding the amount of events that happen because it seems Counter-Strike is bloated. And bringing it back to the NFL, I believe they were in talks of wanting to have another day for NFL games, right? So right now you have Thursday night football, Sunday, and Monday night football. Okay. Sunday is when the bulk of the games take place. I believe on Thursday you have one game and Monday you have one game. Correct?
Yeah.
Okay. I believe the NFL wanted another day to have a game on because if you think about it, it would technically bring more viewers in because football will be on more often, but that could totally fuck with scheduling, like completely.
Right.
And I don't want to see it happen that way. Right. But then I always hark on Halo for not having enough events. You have to find that good middle ground.
Right. I think that's what makes the NFL so good though, is there's only 16 games a year.
Yep.
For your regular season.
Right.
And then the playoffs. Like you have one chance a week to get that win. That makes it so intense.
Right. And like what for the NHL and the NBA and MLB, the amount of games you have in a season's
what for
bonkers.
For NHL it's like 80, I think it's 82 games.
It's 90 something or 100 something for MLB.
160.
160?
162 to be exact.
Is that regular season though?
Yeah, regular season. 162 games.
Oh my God.
You're playing 3-4 games a week.
That's right. I mean, yeah, I was going to say we played the Royals yesterday and today.
So
oh my God. And then NBA is crazy too.
Yeah. A lot of games. But I don't watch every single baseball game.
No.
I'll tune in when it's convenient.
Right.
If maybe there was less games on a week, then I'd be like, oh, I have to watch the Twins games because I need to know how they're doing.
And clearly people are still buying tickets. People are still watching because they're still around.
Yeah.
And they haven't changed it. So clearly something works there. But I think in esports, you have to find that middle ground because you don't want, like you said, oversaturate the market.
Right.
And
well, that's the thing with if you look at NHL games,
yeah,
there are, an NFL arena can seat 60,000 people. A NHL arena, 25, 30,000 maybe.
Okay.
So it's a smaller market for sure.
Sure.
But the fact there's so many games and like the Wild games, when they're doing well, are mostly sold out. We're kind of going into a half rebuild season, I believe, this next season. So the arena might not be as full, but it's the state of hockey here in Minnesota. There's diehard fans. So they have their place in the market where they're going to have people constantly showing up.
For sure.
So they have to find that sweet spot though of what works for esports.
Yes. Okay. So to finish things up here, we think for the longevity, franchising should be a thing depending upon the title. Currently as it stands, Halo should not have it because it's not there yet. Are we in agreement on that?
Sure.
Okay. Is that all we got? Shall we move on?
Yeah.
Perfect. Will, it's time for some shoutouts. First and foremost, congratulations to Real Life Spartan on over 1,000 followers on Twitch. We included a Twitch link to his stream. Check it out. He dresses up in an all Master Chief costume, and he brings a lot of enthusiasm to his streams. He's fantastic. Go ahead and leave him a follow if you can. Next up, shout out to Reddit Halo on reaching over 300,000 subscribers. It's got to be all those memes.
It's got to be.
Got to be. Shout out to everyone who joined in the community discussion for the topic of the week, technically the last 2 weeks. Thank you guys so much. It was a great discussion. And I'm glad we took that extra time, to be completely honest with you.
For sure.
Yes. And then shout out to everyone who joined in the community playdate. This included High Tech Redneck, Goalie Sniper, and Night Fox. Thanks you guys for the games. I greatly appreciate it. And finally, shout out to QX of Halo Draft League. I'm going to throw Abstract in there as well. QX, you came in clutch right now as I was doing Shownotes for the show. You provided the rosters that I needed. Thank you so much for the Halo Draft League and the Halo Premier League. You're fantastic, and I can't wait to see what happens in the future with the leagues. That does it for the shout-outs. It's time for the community creations. First and foremost, Will, we have Meme Monday.
What is it?
It's on Reddit. Reddit.com/r/Halo. Memes are there every Monday. Halo-related memes on Monday on Reddit.com/r/Halo.
Oh, boy.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Then we have Gunshot, a Halo 3 montage edited by Xander on YouTube. Go check it out. And finally, we have UGC's The Halo Classic Atlantic City Photo Album. This is by UGC. It's on Facebook. Check it out. It's great stuff. And again, rules apply as always. If High Tech releases the next clips of the week, it'll be included in the show notes. Hey, Will, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
So we talked about esports franchising. And we're going to have a topic next week. It's going to be a little bit more lighthearted, I guess you could say. But all I have to ask is, why the fuck do you want to get rid of Milky Way? Will, plug the show, please.
You can find us on your favorite podcast services. Just search for HCS Pro Talk. We are on Apple Podcasts or iTunes, whatever you use for your Apple product. We are on Google Play, Podbean, Stitcher, Spotify as well. Leave us a review and let others know about the show. We are on Discord. Join the community discussion over there. A lot of great talks. A lot of people chiming in this week on the franchising in esports and lots of just other good talk. Scud Puddle's posting music now.
Yeah. Oh, shit. I didn't include that.
He's doing it's cool stuff. So go check that out.
You did too.
You can check us out on your Xbox. Join our Xbox club or Spartan Company. Just search for HCS Pro Talk. We are also on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Mixer, Twitch, and Esportspedia. Go follow us on social media and enjoy whatever you want to enjoy out there. Josh.
Yes.
That's the end of the plugs.
Is it though?
That's all I got so far.
That's not all I got.
What do we have
So
on the next episode?
No, so I'm gonna include Scud Puddle's song in the community creations because I totally just fucking blanked out on that. Well, it's a snippet, isn't it? What?
If
he posted it.
Whatever he posted in general, not in the mod only chat.
Right. Do you want yours posted or no?
It's in the mod only chat.
Okay, I won't
Not
then.
yet.
This is why I ask.
It's not done.
It's
That
fine.
was the first
It's
take.
Fine. I was just asking. Whenever you're ready, it'll be on there.
So now people are going to ask because you put it on the show.
I know. I feel bad, but at the same time, I don't because you're amazing.
Whatever.
And you deserve all the recognition. On the next episode of HCS Pro Talk, Will, thank you for segueing, and then I ruined the segue, but now we're segueing back. We have a new topic, and this one's from Viscous.
Okay.
He asks, what are your rituals or habits that keep you competitively focused or just for the things that you do? So there you go. It's a little bit more of a lighthearted topic. What gets you in that competitive mindset? What do you do before you game? What do you do before you just get hyped up? What gets you hyped up? What do you got? We're going to talk about it next week.
Let us know on Twitter and in the Discord.
And on Instagram.
The Instas?
And on Facebook.
Facebook. I'm like really close to disabling my Facebook.
I'm getting there.
I
have no use for it.
And
it's easier to coordinate events.
It really is. That's like that's what I use it for right now is event planning. Unfortunately, I'm getting sick and tired. Like Facebook basically just steals your data and sells it to other companies. That's what they do. That's how they make their money.
It is because of advertisements. It is a free platform.
It is a free platform, and that's the price you pay.
It is,
to be honest,
especially for that big of a business.
So, yeah, just saying. Not liking the Facebooks recently.
It's okay.
Or for a while, but I've kept it up because that's the only way I can contact some people. Facebook. Way to go.
We're getting a Facebook rant from Will at the end of the show. Hey, Will, remember when I was the one that always postponed the ending?
Yeah, now
it's turning into you. It's been 2 weeks in a row now. This is all you.
You made me last week talking about Rock Band some more.
I didn't make you. I asked.
I need to pull out the PS3 and boot up Beatles Rock Band. So I've been itching to play some Beatles songs.
Ooh. Talk about a console that doesn't have backwards compatibility. Boom. Damn
it. PlayStation 4.
That's right. Fucking stupid controller.
And not bad.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for episode 93 of HCS Pro Talk. I want to thank you very much for listening. And this was a long one. Will, what are we clocking at right now?
Currently, before editing, we are at 2 minutes, 32 seconds, and 37 seconds.
2 minutes, 32 seconds, and 37 seconds. That's a short show.
2 hours, 32 minutes, and now 47 seconds.
And we're just going to keep the clock running. I'm just kidding. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening. We'll catch you next week where we have our weekly topic. We're going to talk about a lot more Halo, and we can't wait to see what happens with the franchising scene. But until then, bye-bye.